Starting as the Senju Hashirama system, this video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. Uzumaki Mito remembered clearly that when he first learned the sealing technique, it took him 7 days to successfully master the first technique. Even so, her qualifications are considered a genius among the Uzumaki clan. It's not like no one is more talented than Mito, but learning two sealing techniques in 1 hour. What a joke. Hashirama, tell me honestly, have you ever learned the sealing technique before? Uzumaki Mito's eyes were filled with doubts, and his cheeks were bulging with anger. No, Senju Hashirama replied honestly. His eyes were quite clear, and his expression was still as honest as before, and there was no hint of deception. In fact, this was indeed the case. Uzumaki Mito came closer to Hashirama, looked it up and down with inquiring eyes, and finally accepted the fact helplessly. It's so unreasonable that a genius like you exists in this world. Grandpa Ashina said that I'm a 1 in a million genius, so who do you think you are? A 1 in a million super genius? Facing the girl's question, Senju Hashirama smiled sarcastically and did not say anything sensibly. He had a vague guess in his mind. Maybe his learning speed is so fast. In addition to being related to the 5-element seal rewarded by the system, I'm afraid that it is also inseparable from the Jianmu visualization diagram point, because from the day he started meditating on the Jianmu diagram, his perception ability has been transforming day by day, evolving towards another worldly and unknown realm. Even his ability to understand is better than much stronger before, and these eyes seem to be a little different. Senju Hashirama's eyes were moving, and he could feel that a subtle change was taking place in his eyes. System, do you know what's going on? Senju Hashirama thought directly in his heart. Ding, practicing the tree building visualization diagram can enhance the host's spiritual power, strengthen the host's observation ability, memory ability, etc. The reason for the changes in the eyes is that they are stimulated by the spiritual power, and an unknown benign evolution has occurred. Evolution? Open your eyes? Senju Hashirama immediately thought of the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan point, but he immediately thought it was impossible. Forget it, you will know when you really open your eyes, Senju Hashirama thought, no longer paying attention to his own eyes. After passing on the skills of using Shaver and Shunpo to Uzumaki Mito, the girl was stunned. Under his gaze, Senju Hashirama easily split into 5 wooden clones, specially used to practice the two learned sealing techniques. Chakrado, he is so willful. Know how to give me guidance. Looking at Senju Hashirama, who had re-entered the cultivation state, the red-haired girl was so angry that her teeth itched. But then she touched her face unconfidently. Strange. Am I that ugly? You don't pay attention to me at all. No, it's definitely that fool's fault, not mine. Muttering in her mouth, Uzumaki Mito held the scroll of Taijutsu and also began to practice. But compared to Hashirama's exaggerated aura, she seemed quite strenuous. She barely understood the two skills after stumbling. The foundation of Taijutsu point. My heart became more and more stuffy point. But at noon, when Hashirama took out a dish of delicacies from the mountains and seas, he easily resolved all the grievances of the Uzumaki princess. As time goes by, winter has completely arrived. The howling cold wave hits various areas like a tsunami, with strong winds and hunting sounds. Everything is covered with hoarfrost. The entire kingdom of fire was dyed pure white, much like the kingdom of snow, which suffers from extreme weather all year round. Faced with such a horrific natural disaster, not even a ninja would want to go out and run around, let alone start a war. Whether it is the 4 giants or the small and medium-sized ninja clans under their command, they are all dormant in their families and clans, waiting for the end of the cold winter. The Thousand Hands clan is the fastest moving group among them. As early as half a month ago, all ninjas were banned from traveling to avoid unexpected situations where they could not return. Of course, Uzumaki Mito also stayed in the Senju clan and could not return to the Uzumaki clan point in the room between the Senju clan and the Senju Hashirama. This snow is really heavy. Next to Senju Hashirama, Uzumaki Mito, who was wearing a thick winter coat, sighed subconsciously. His face turned red from the cold. It's quite big. Senju Hashirama stood by the window and looked at the sky in the distance. This heavy snow will be the last straw and crush the ordinary people around who are struggling to support themselves. By then, there will be a huge number of many civilians died in this winter snow. Only a few people were able to support themselves and walked near the Senju clan, praying to the superior ninjas for protection. And he was finally able to summon the servants of the system mall to mix them in. Among this group of refugees, they were brought back to the land of the thousand hands. King Ming reading gift. Deposit 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Grab a deposit now. Event time. April 5th to April 5th. Chapter 52. Sire, looking at the heavy snow, Senju Hashirama sighed. Although he wanted to use the refugees this time to summon talents from the system mall, he was kind-hearted and still felt sympathy for these hungry and cold civilians. This is not an overflowing holy mother heart, nor is it the pretentiousness of a sanctimonious person. It is just an idea that arises subconsciously as a human being. Boom 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 outside the door. Someone knocked lightly on the wooden door, and then a familiar middle-aged voice came out. Young patriarch, the time for the meeting has come, I understand. Third uncle. Senju Hashirama nodded slightly and responded to the middle-aged man outside the door. The so-called meeting is actually the Senju clan's arrangement discussion with the surrounding civilians. Although in name, no matter whether it is the ninja clan, they are still civilians, all under the rule of the Fire Nation Daimyo. But in reality, the ninja clan has begun to break away from the control of the Fire Nation regime. Ordinary people living near the clan only recognize the ninja clan and are protected by the major ninja clans. Whether to protect the surrounding civilians or not is the content of today's meeting point. After giving Uzumaki Mito a few words, Senju Hashirama opened the door directly and walked towards the place where the meeting started. When he arrived, he found the clan center, where the meeting was held, was already full of people, including his two younger brothers. Brother, here. Senju Tobirama and Senju Itama waved their excited little hands, gesturing for Hashirama to sit over. Before Hashirama could start asking about the situation, the two little guys started chattering. The current Senju senior executives are roughly divided into there are two factions. One faction advocates staying in the safe area of the tribe and waiting for the ordinary people to come over and then provide shelter and some food. The other faction feels that this will lose the prestige of the Thousand Hands clan and they should take the initiative to protect them as much as possible within their capabilities. Common people. Li Jing looked at the two clan elders who were arguing fiercely in the venue and couldn't help but smile. Sure enough, no matter which world you are in, the powerful and superior people will not care about the existence of the weak. Strictly speaking, the two factions actually have similar ideas. It's just that the second faction takes the so-called big clan's face into consideration and is afraid that the Senju will be laughed at by other ninja clan and cannot protect the civilians, so they want to take the initiative to help the civilians. Well, although I agree with this approach, if this is the case, there will be no room for the development of big pillars. How can I exchange for servants when I'm still in the clan? Li Jing waved his hand and a new mission was generated. Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering the temporary task mission name, Sanctuary of the Thousand Hands of the Forest mission introduction. How can a large and powerful clan protect one side and watch the civilians within its territory freeze to death and starve to death? As the next leader of the Thousand Hands clan, the host should take the initiative to maintain the reputation of the clan. Mission reward, detailed explanation of immortal mode cultivation. The difficulty of the mission was average, so Li Jing didn't give him anything too good and casually threw an immortal mode cultivation scroll that he originally intended for Dazu to see. Immortal mode. Compared with Li Jing's indifference, Senju Hashirama's mood was particularly agitated. If he remembered correctly, this Sage mode is the powerful power controlled by the Sage of Six Paths, and the origin of Six Paths pointed is precisely because with the existence of Senjutsu Chakra, the Sage of Six Paths was able to defeat his biological mother, Kaguya Otsutsuki. The tasks issued by the system are close to what I want. Senju Hashirama breathed out lightly. He originally planned to take the initiative to help ordinary people, but his idea was not firm enough. Now with Li Jing's help, there is no need to hesitate too much. Dear clan elders, leave this matter to me. The prestige of the Thousand Hands clan must be maintained. In the surprised eyes of his two younger brothers and many clan elders, Senju Hashirama stood up directly and declared that he wanted to take the initiative, to take charge of this matter. Sitting in the middle of the venue, Senju Hashirama slightly showing an approving expression. Eyes. Without discussing whether it is feasible or not, the eldest son's attitude of safeguarding the dignity of the family is worthy of recognition. The young patriarch is very powerful. Such wind and snow are not dangerous to him. Maybe it can be done. If it can really protect a large number of civilians, compared to the tragic situation of other ninja clans, the glory of the Senju of the forest will definitely spread to the land of fire. But the young patriarch is too young after all. If he is not good. Some people agree, some are hesitant. The attitudes of the elders of the Thousand Hands clan still cannot be unified. Needless to say, this matter will be decided by me. Let Hashirama take responsibility. Thousand Armed Budama interrupted the conversation of the clan elders with a calm face and directly used the clan leader's absolute privilege to conclude the meeting. Then, he named several veteran jounin and asked them to assist Hashirama in completing this mission. After all, Hashirama was still too young. Although Senjibuma trusted him, he was still worried that something would go wrong. Decision point Kingming reading gift. Deposit 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Grab a deposit now. Event time, April 5th to April 5th. Chapter 53. The clan leader gave the order, and 3 jounin and 7 chunin immediately gathered together. A team of 10 people was formed and followed behind Senju Hashirama. Originally, Senju Tobirama and Senju Itama wanted to follow them, but because they were too young, Senju Tobirama immediately refused. This cold weather is no joke if you don't have enough chakra protection. At the exit of the Senju clan, Senju Hashirama changed his clothes and wore the rust-red Sengoku armor again, carrying the extremely heavy higher cure chakra sword. This was the necessary weapon for ninjas to travel during the Warring States period. At this time, unlike the 5 stable countries in later generations, no one knows whether they will encounter ninjas from hostile families. Crack. Senju Hashirama moved his body, and the armor he wore made a crisp impact sound. However, the body of 11 or 12 years old looked more youthful and strong due to the highly developed potential point indistinctly. Li Jing 1 or 2 traces of the peak period of later generations can already be seen. Ding. A friendly reminder from the system. The host can purchase a brand new weapon in the system mall. After scanning the whole body of the big pillar, Li Jing couldn't help but say, the Bailey Chakra Sword has been following Senju Hashirama for a long time and has experienced 2 large-scale battles, as well as countless small battles and daily training. Especially Uchiha Tajima, who had previously faced off against cage-level strength. As a weapon in the first level mall, it has been able to hold up until now and is considered the best among the best. Change weapons? Senju Hashirama took out the Bailey chakra knife from behind his back and scratched his head. It seems like it needs to be changed. However, it will soon be upgraded to the 3rd level system mall, and it will not be too late to change it then. Li Jing nodded slightly and did not continue point anyway. In the original work, Senju Hashirama was invincible with just wood release. It really didn't make any difference whether he had weapons or not. Young clan leader, it's time to set off. If you leave now, you can come back before dark. A jounin came up and said to Senju Hashirama very respectfully. He was the jounin who accompanied Hashirama to the Hyuga battlefield last time. One of the shinobi, who witnessed the scene of the boy's fusion with the giant Mewtwo, was regarded as a god. This time he was rearranged as the eldest son subordinate by Senju Budama, and it seemed that he was deliberately training to be his son's confidant. Okay, let's set off. Senju Hashirama nodded and slowly walked out of the gate of the Senju clan. Before leaving, he turned to his 2 younger brothers who came to see him off, and the girl waved slightly to say goodbye. On the outskirts of the clan territory, fields filled with green crops surround the entire Senju clan territory. Every time they see this scene, the jounin accompanying Hashirama will have high respect in their hearts. Rejuvenate dead trees and freeze them, turning soil into spring. What are these methods if not gods? Everyone is assembled and let's go. Led by the Senju Hashirama with cage level strength, 10 Senju clan ninjas rushed towards the civilian gathering place. The farther away the Senju clan is, the less spring scenery they can feel. Not long after, the group of people disappeared in the violently spreading blizzard. The world fell into dead silence again. It seemed that no living beings would remain in this land of ice and snow. At least that's what it seemed. Click, click. I don't know how long it took, but a piece of snow not far from the outskirts of the Thousand Hands clan suddenly cracked. Out of it came a ninja whose clothes were completely different from those of the Fire Country. There were inscriptions on his arms. There is a strange double horn symbol, which seems to be the family emblem in the Fire Country. No ninja clan symbol has such a shape. Unexpectedly, the Thousand Hands clan, which was the first to enter the winter state, would actually send people out at this time, and the direction coincidentally happened to hit them. The weird ninja with the double horn symbol engraved on his body, and even his head frowned. Sorry, you have to inform the clan leader, otherwise the remains of the ancestors of the Six Paths will not be developed, and the Thousand Hands clan will cut off their hair. The two-horned ninja no longer hesitated and activated his chakra to fly on the snow. Deliberately avoiding the direction where Senju Hashirama and his group left, he circled and ran towards his destination point. If Li Jing was still here, if you look at it, you can recognize it. The horns on this ninja's head are exactly the same as those of the Sage of Six Paths. They are also very similar to the gold-horned and silver-horned brothers who killed the Nidain Hokage in later generations. On the other side, as they leave the territory of the Thousand Hands clan, they gradually enter the territory where ordinary people in the Fire Country live. One after another, frozen corpses can be seen everywhere. Maintain the struggling or numb posture of life. These are all losers who tried to cross the ice and snow to seek refuge in the Thousand Hands clan. It was too difficult. It was too difficult. Senju Hashirama looked silent. In such harsh snowstorm weather, it would be difficult for ordinary people without chakra protection to walk. Not to mention that ordinary people rarely have winter clothes to cover their bodies and enough food to eat. Even Senju Hashirama is not sure whether he can return to his clan safely under such conditions. It's really a wrong world. Senju Hashirama shook his head in thought and moved on. One day, he will reform the ninja world into the beautiful world in the book. Let everyone be fed, clothed warmly, and the elderly with someone to rely on and someone to support you. Let the wars in the world subside, and the light of peace fill every corner. Chapter 54. As the snow deepened, more and more bodies fell around. The group we saw before were already the rare individuals that could persist for a long time. More people couldn't even get there, and died on the way. Sava, save me. Hearing the sound of Kyanju and his group approaching, a frozen corpse suddenly moved and let out a hoarse yet hopeful cry for help. Half of his body was buried in the snow, and the other half was slowly covered by snowflakes, revealing a face that was purple with pain from the cold struggle. The man who still had some strength left struggled and crawled towards Senju Hashirama and his group with all his strength. Just a few ninjas all shook their heads with regret. They could feel that this man's energy and blood had been drained to nothing, and he was just hanging on with a strong will to survive. Even if he gets immediate treatment, he cannot be saved. With Senju Hashirama's acquiescence, a Jounin came out and ended the man's life with a kunai. That's all they can do. The man watched in confusion as kunai penetrated his body. His eyes gradually lost their light, and finally everything turned into relief. Keep moving forward, Senju Hashirama ordered. Watching a person die in front of him, but having no way to save him, this feeling made Hashirama feel quite powerless. But he knew better that there were countless people on the verge of death ahead of him. The dead ordinary people are waiting for him. The big pillar has become mature, attached to Senju Hashirama's body. Li Jing looked back at the frozen corpse. If it were the Senju Hashirama in the original plot, he would have ignored the rescue of that man at this time. And even because he was too excited, he forgot that there were countless civilians waiting for rescue behind him. But now Yuzi has understood the priorities of the matter. Of course, according to Li Jing's estimation, if the man can still be saved, he will still take action. There is no reason, just because he is Senju Hashirama. The strongest first generation in the hearts of countless Naruto fans. The ninja team continues to move forward. After crossing this death zone, where countless frozen zombie heads are piled up, they finally reach the ordinary A village, where people live. All that are left here are weak people who dare not take the risk to cross the snow. When they see someone coming, these hungry civilians seem to be very scared, but after seeing clearly the forest depicting, after raising the flag of the thousand hands seal, he immediately became energetic. Countless women, children, old and young people walked out of the simple wooden houses, surrounded by cheers. It's the ninjas of Senju. The adults are here to save us. Great, we are saved. This time it's the ninja of the Senju clan. As residents of the country of fire, the civilians who were nominally under the jurisdiction of the daimyo of the country of fire gave a warm cheer to the arriving Senju ninja. To them, the daimyo were not known at all. They only recognized the Senju, and only knew Senju. He waved to the 10 ninjas to take out the military food pills they carried, and boiled them with fire escape and snow cubes on the spot to make a soup. To satisfy their hunger, Senju Hashirama looked around in confusion. It's strange why there are traces of chakra here, and they were left not long ago. There should be no ninjas in this village. The more Senju Hashirama thought about it, the stranger he became. The more Senju Hashirama thought about it, the stranger he became. Only ninjas in this area are the Senju clan, and the people sent by the Senju clan on this trip are all here. How could there be other unknown chakra auras? System, has the presence of the enemy been detected? Senju Hashirama's heart sank, and he asked silently in his mind. Ding, the system did not detect that the enemy was nearby, but traces of chakra use remained nearby, and Li Jing became energetic instantly. Recalling what the villagers said before, it clearly meant that other ninjas had been here before. Could it be the hostile Uchiha clan? Or is it the Oromo clan? Li Jing pondered, feeling that things were not that simple. However, due to the limited detection range of the secondary system, he was unable to know the enemy's current whereabouts. The ice and snow environment perfectly buried the traces left by the other party. Forget it, let's let Dazu finish exchanging his servants first. Shook his head, and Li Jing gave up the idea of exploring the traces of chakra. Today is the first time that Dazu exchanges servants. It is rare to open, so he must be brutally slaughtered. Ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering the random offer. Today, all servant products in the system all are 20% off. The validity period is limited to 2 hours. Starting from now on, discount offer? Senju Hashirama's eyes lit up. He didn't know that this was Li Jing's special setting. He just thought that he was lucky enough. He happened to get a discount when he wanted to redeem. In this way, he could redeem more talent now. Let me see what kind of talents can be redeemed. Senju Hashirama completely threw away the doubts in his mind and opened the system all with a smile. He entered the servant column with ease. Without much hesitation, he waved. Directly purchased 50 farmers and 5 agricultural officials. Ask the host to choose the place where the servant will descend. Still need to choose a place. Senju Hashirama was stunned for a moment, but he immediately reacted. Of course, the system can allow people to appear next to him, but this way of appearing out of thin air will inevitably frighten other people. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. After casually finding an excuse to leave, Senju Hashirama flew to a distant snowfield. This place is neither far nor close to the village, just out of reach of the Jonins. System, summon it. Under Senju Hashirama's curious gaze, Li Jing directly deducted 1000 points and summoned 50 farmers and 5 agricultural officers. The price of one farmer was only 10 points, while the price of an agricultural officer was 100 points. 10 times more than farmers. Whoa. The white light flashed, and a total of 55 people appeared out of thin air on the snowy field. Owner. Very uniformly, 55 people bowed down and saluted Senju Hashirama at the same time, with a very low posture. Just be more natural. Senju Hashirama seemed a little embarrassed. This was the first time he was treated like this, so he was a little shy. In addition to being nervous, there was also a trace of curiosity in his heart. I don't know. Are the daimyo of the fire country also cheered by the ministers like this? Can I be considered a daimyo of another level? Senju Hashirama took a look at the clothes of the farmers and found that they were all in the style of the fire country. Ordinary clothing, even with a lot of holes and snowflakes system. What's going on with their clothes? Senju Hashirama couldn't help asking. Answering the host, in order to meet the host's purpose this time, the system has automatically changed appropriate clothes to help the servants better integrate into the current world, Li Jing slowly explained. Of course he could give these servants better clothes, but that was totally unnecessary. He never regarded other people in the Naruto world as fools. He felt that those Senju ninjas were blind, and believed that a group of neatly dressed people were refugees from the cold winter. Well, you did a good job with the system. Senju Hashirama nodded slightly. It's great to have a good teammate. You don't have to worry about a lot of messy things. Let me see if there is anything else I can redeem, Dazu said to himself, and clicked on the system mall. Servants can be roughly divided into two categories, auxiliary and combat point. With the current situation of the Thousand Hands clan, there is not a shortage of combatants, and they will not trust external combat power, so Senju Hashirama directly focused on farmers, blacksmiths, chefs and other auxiliary logistics personnel. A grand cuisine chef with extremely high culinary talent who can perfectly control any dish and create truly luminous cuisine. Enchanting casters are proficient in crafting different types of weapons and enchanting weapons with energy of different attributes, which can greatly enhance the weapon's lethality and defense. Senju Hashirama was browsing among the servants in the secondary mall with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Although ninjas have always used ninjutsu to fight, melee weapons are also indispensable. A good melee weapon can often make the difference. The outcome of the battle point, because in addition to long-range combat capabilities, ninjas also have amazing melee combat capabilities. Therefore, even now when the samurai have declined, swords are still the mainstream weapons of the era. A special weapon that can infuse chakra can. Even the price was more than 1,000 gold on the black market. Senju Hashirama's eyes lit up, and he directly bought a chef to improve his food, and then bought 5 enchantment blacksmiths to increase the family's heritage. Ding. The servant redemption was successful, and a total of 10,800 points were deducted. 6 figures appeared out of thin air in front of Senju Hashirama, and the points instantly dropped from more than 50,000 to 40,000. It's so expensive. Dazu took a breath, secretly feeling sorry for the 10,000 points deducted. They are also servants that can only be purchased in the second level mall. The agricultural officer is completely incomparable with the servants of these two professions. The exchange price is about 20 times different. It's only 1,000. Hashirama has no regrets. In reality, there is no chance to recruit talents of this level. It is not a question of more money and less money, but that there are simply not that many talents in the world. I don't know what kind of servants will appear after upgrading to the third level mall. Senju Hashirama looked at the page of the system mall curiously, but for now it is better to redeem the first level and second level servants. System, you can redeem it directly for me and redeem all the talents I need now. Scratching his head, Senju Hashirama directly asked Li Jing to help with the exchange. He still lacked experience and could not think comprehensively, so he simply delegated power to Li Jing. TSK, I'm just a good person. If I change to a different system, I might lose all the points from the big pillar. Li Jing had no choice but to deal with the Senju boy. He waved his hand and redeemed all the basic servants that needed to be redeemed. Senju Hashirama's account suddenly lost another 6,000 points. You go in the direction I left and try to spread out as much as possible without attracting too much attention. After giving a few instructions to the summoned servants, Senju Hashirama turned around and rushed towards the village. When he arrived, 10 Senju ninjas were still managing order and allowing the hungry villagers to use military rations. The pill soup was full. As a period of time passed, system servants in ragged clothes arrived one after another. But the ninjas only took a glance at them and realized that they were ordinary people without chakra, and they didn't care. At the same time, at a place thousands of meters away from the village, the firstborn 2 horned ninjas gathered everywhere, surrounding the foot of a stone mountain. If there are ninjas from the Kingdom of Thunder here, they will find that they are the powerful ninja clan of the Kingdom of Thunder. The Horn Clan. A ninja who inherited the bloodline of the Six Paths Sage. Chapter 56. The ninjas of the Senju clan, the leader of the clan, did not notice us. They seemed to be just trying to relieve the civilians. A perceptive ninja lifted the seal and respectfully walked to an old man and said, "Relief. Haha, it's another face-saving game played by the big clan." The old man seemed quite disdainful of this approach, with a sarcastic smile. The other ninjas of the Horn clan also smiled knowingly. Perhaps at the beginning of the Warring States period, there would be this kind of ninja clan selflessly helps others, even sacrificing its own interests, but with the development now, such kind-hearted sheep-like ninja clan have long been eliminated by other ninja clan. Interest is the eternal theme of the Warring States period. Chief, should we continue our operation, or should we wait until those few Senju ninjas leave? Someone asked the old man for instructions. Faced with this problem, the leader of the Horn clan just thought for a moment, and then showed a slightly ugly smile. Continue. Of course continue. Although this is the land of fire, it is the obligation of our descendants to retrieve the inheritance of the ancestors of the Six Paths. Even the Thousand Hands clan can't say anything. If those few Senju ninjas really come over, I can try out the power of the ancestral ninja tools. The leader of the Horn clan's gaze was very fiery, looking straight at the bottom of the hill. According to the clear records of the Six Paths Immortal left in the Horn clan, this was once a residence of the Six Paths Immortal thousands of years ago. There is also a record of where the Six Paths Immortal lived when he was young. Several powerful ninja tools were used. To Otsutsuki Hagoromo at the time. These ninja tools were dispensable and cumbersome, but to later generations like the Kaku clan, they were supreme artifacts capable of dominating the world. They are bound to win. The barrier ninja began to set up the barrier to isolate the movement of opening the ruins. Everyone else followed me into the ancestral ruins. The leader of the Horn clan drank. Although he was arrogant, he was not blindly arrogant. Although he despised Senju Hashirama and his group, he still set up a barrier to isolate the movement. To avoid accidents, all the Horn clan members, the ninjas, began to mobilize and quickly dispersed into two groups. One group formed seals on the spot, triggering a silent transparent barrier to cover the entire hill. The other group followed the clan leader and slowly walked to the bottom of the hill. In front of a certain stone door. Due to its age, this door has been integrated with the surrounding mountain wall, making it difficult to distinguish them from each other. If someone is not looking for it, they will only think that it is a mountain wall with special patterns. According to the clan scrolls, only his bloodline can open the ancestral ruins. Just drop the blood on the portal. The leader of the Horn clan thought about it and made a mark on his finger with the kunai he carried with him. Scarlet blood dripped on the fingertips, dripping on the ancient stone door. It was very peaceful at first, but then, a loud rumbling sound spread all around, like the roar of thunder, and the huge portal that had not been opened for a long time slowly opened. If there was no sound barrier, the movement here would have been heard by Senju Hashirama and others in the distance. Underground, frowned and glanced at the long and narrow passage leading to the bottom of the mountain range. The leader of the Horn clan frowned. He took a torch from the hand of the person next to him and lit it with fire escape. Then he walked directly in. It seemed that the entire underground space of the hill was penetrated. As soon as the ninjas of the Horn clan stepped into the underground passage, they felt the strange sound of wind echoing in their ears. This is a special phenomenon that only occurs in a sufficiently open-closed space. It seems to be in order to verify everyone's suspicions. The appearance of the underground ruins was slowly revealed. There were training grounds, bedrooms, and a deserted place where powerful ninjutsu were experimented. The leader of the Horn clan had no interest in these places and went straight to the deepest part of the ruins. He knew that there might be some relics of the Six Paths Immortal in those places, but as time went by, they would inevitably become unusable. Only the several Six Paths ninja tools placed in the central area are the only goal of this trip. The ninjas of the Horn clan moved faster and faster, using chakra to increase their speed crazily. As descendants of the Six Paths Sage, they also possessing some of the characteristics of an immortal body. His chakra is much richer than that of ordinary ninjas, and he does not worry about the consumption of chakra at all. I don't know how long it took before everyone actually reached the end of the passage, which is also the deepest, center and most spacious place in the Six Paths ruins. There are 6 pieces of sage ninja tools in total. The old man laughed, and his eyes were attracted by the ninja tools that shimmered with extraordinary light. the golden rope, the 7-star sword, the red gourd, the banana fan, the amber bottle. After observing the appearance of several ninja tools at close range, the Horn Clan, the names of several ninja tools appeared in the patriarch's mind. However, when it came to the 6th ninja tool, his brows furrowed deeply. They were a pair of huge red balls, exuding a scarlet enchanting brilliance. It seems as if I can sense malice, like a collection of all the hostility in the world. This is, the leader of the Horn Clan was puzzled, and stepped forward, intending to illuminate the ball with the light of the torch. Woo! As the fire approached, the darkness faded inch by inch. A tall stone platform was revealed that enshrined several 6 Paths ninja tools, and the body of the supergiant demon fox that was crouched behind the stone platform, and had been observing everyone for a long time. Chapter 57. Tailed Beast. Almost at the first sight of the demon fox, the people of the Horn Clan subconsciously exclaimed, "It has a huge body like a mountain, demonic fox eyes shining with scarlet light, and 9 huge fox tails that connect the sky and the ground are proof of this. The best evidence of its identity point the 9 tails. Its power ranks first among all tailed beasts. Except for the special existence of the 10 tails, other tailed beasts cannot defeat it." Because of this, the ninjas of the Horn Clan instantly turned pale. As descendants of the immortal of 6 Paths, they know better than anyone else the strength of the giant beast in front of them. Roar. The roar of the 9 tails resounded throughout the entire ruined space, and just the impact of the sound wave made the underground ruins shake. Those crimson eyes filled with violence perfectly express the inner mania of their owner. Bang. With just a simple slap, more than 10 ninjas were powerfully knocked away. They flew upside down at extremely fast speeds and hit the wall of the ruins hard. Their internal organs were shattered to pieces. They watched It's impossible to survive withdraw. "Everyone, get out of here." After the leader of the Horn Clan took away the 5 real 6 Path ninja tools at an extremely fast speed, he rushed into the passage again. He tried to escape back to the ground under the nose of the 9 tails. The extremely huge 9-tailed demon fox just watched indifferently. Most of the body was hidden in the darkness, watching the ants-like crowd flee upwards. Gradually, the blood-red chakra spread on the surface of the body. It was violent and agitated, like a collection of all the negative emotions in the world. "I obviously don't want to hurt anyone. Why do you have to force me?" Kyuubi's emotions became more and more excited, and the violent scarlet chakra gradually covered his eyes. In the thousands of years, since the death of the 6 Paths sage, there were always shady ninjas who wanted to enslave the tailed beasts. Among them, the strongest Kyuubi. Even more, he was harassed again and again. Because his nature was not bad, Kyuubi restrained himself again and again. This time, he specially found a place where Otsutsuki Hagoromo trained. When he was young, he planned to sleep here quietly for a few days. 100 years or something. But less than a year after falling into deep sleep, this peace was broken again by the ninjas of the Horn Clan. Years of suppressed anger plus the anger of getting out of bed directly made this 9-tailed demon fox extremely angry. Click, click. With a random wave of his front paw, he smashed the stone platform enshrining the 5 6 Paths ninja tools. Kyuubi stood up on its 2 hind legs and roared, forcefully punching through the ceiling of the ruins. The 9 tails flapped wildly, and each blow had the huge power of regular S-level ninjutsu, shattering the ruins that restricted the range of the 9 tails movement. Bang! The extremely dark-tailed beast cannon penetrated the entire underground ruins, as well as the hills above the surface. That huge power easily broke the blockade of the sound barrier. Roar! The roaring roar echoed in the sky, and the dark light cannon that shattered the clouds in the sky could be easily glimpsed even thousands of miles away. On the other side, it was almost the moment when the sound barrier was broken. Senju Hashirama heard the crazy roar from Kyuubi. The strange roar that he had never heard before made the Senju boy feel quite familiar. He didn't know that this was because the Azura chakra in his body reacted system. "Do you know what exists there? Why do I have the urge to take a look?" Senju Hashirama said, looking in the direction of the 6 Paths ruins. Ding. According to the scanning results of the system, there is a very powerful chakra entrenched in that location, and it is initially estimated that the owner is a tailed beast. Li Jing's voice sounded directly in Dazu's mind. Compared to Dazu, who was clueless, he instantly guessed the owner of the voice. Kyuubi. Apart from it, there is almost no other tailed beast in the land of fire. Ding, the host can choose to trust his intuition and find out. After thinking about it, Li Jing added another suggestion. The big pillar now is not the same as before, which can make him move differently. After practicing the Jianmu visualization diagram, I'm afraid that besides the nine tails, there are other good things in that direction. Maybe it's like Black Zetsu, the kind of good thing that can be exchanged for 50,000 points. Okay, since you said so, then I'm relieved. Senju Hashirama replied in his mind, and strong would release chakra suddenly burst out from his body. Regardless of the obstruction of several family ninjas, he directly used Shaver and Shunpo. Using his mixed body skills, he rushed towards the Six Paths ruins at extremely fast speeds. After a while, he successfully reached the edge of the Six Paths ruins. The Horned Clan of the Kingdom of Thunder? Senju Hashirama saw the fleeing Horn Clan ninjas at a glance, and recognized this powerful ninja who was famous in the Land of Thunder then. He turned his attention to the huge nine tails chasing the Horn Clan ninjas. It seemed that something was moving in his heart, and he sensed Ashura's chakra. The furious nine tails turned his head to look, with two scholar eyes as strange as the blood moon, projecting to extremely oppressive and violent gazes. More the mental power mixed with such negative emotions impacted, easily knocking down most of the fleeing Horn Clan ninjas. Then the target was directed at Senju Hashirama. Chapter 58. In the Pure Land of Underworld, the immortal of Six Paths who had been guarding here slowly opened his eyes, and he looked up at the top of the underworld space point. The spiral purple Samsara eye seems to ignore the barriers of spatial dimensions. He spied the nine tails wreaking havoc on the earth, and the surrounding Senju Hashirama. Is it another reincarnation? Letting out a sigh that he didn't know what it meant, the immortal closed his eyes again, just as he had done for thousands of years, guarding the tranquility of the pure land of the underworld. The roar of the giant beast shook the heavens and the earth. That gaze, which was like a physical sight, shattered before it touched Senju Hashirama's body. It can't affect Senju Hashirama even a little bit. Divine consciousness? Li Jing frowned and stopped trying to take action. In his eyes, Senju Hashirama's consciousness spread around his body at that moment, completely wiping out the violent will be released by the nine tails, but it also consumed himself. Serious. The loss of spiritual consciousness indirectly affected the body, causing the young man's body to stagger. Is this the power of the tailed beast? It's so incredibly powerful. Looking at the outrageously tall Kyuubi, Senju Hashirama's face showed solemnity. He has always fought against ninjas who are also human beings. He has never fought against a huge enemy. System, do you think I can defeat this tailed beast? Senju Hashirama meditated in his heart. The vigorous would release chakra filled the surface of his body. Ding, according to the current judgment of the system, the host is not strong enough to fight the tailed beast. Please make your decision carefully, Li Jing said quickly. Although when Senju Hashirama reaches adulthood, beating Kyuubi with wood release is like a father beating his son. But the current big pillar is only 11 or 12 years old, and he has not mastered the sage mode. How can he fight the complete nine tails? I don't want to fight, but this place is too close to the village and the clan. Senju Hashirama smiled bitterly. If we let it rage here, I'm afraid countless people will die. Senju Hashirama's words were very firm. His three views and his nature did not allow him to escape at this moment. Li Jing was silent for a moment, then he clenched his fist fiercely and said, Nyang Zippy, isn't it Xiaoxio? A nine-tailed demon fox. Let's do a big job today. Ding. Special mission released. Mission name, Nine Tails Crusade Mission Introduction. Use all means to defeat Kyuubi. Mission reward, level to scroll strong strike. Ding. Since the difficulty of this task far exceeds the host's ability, the host can advance the task reward in advance. Li Jing waved his hand, and a special mission was generated. He would take out 10,000 points from his small treasury and exchange them for a level 2 strong strike, used to ensure the absolute safety of large pillars. Although he had redeemed the strike of the strong before, it was a scroll redeemed at the first level mall. The summoned strong man could not fight against a monster like Ninetales. Advance mission rewards? It seems that the system really doesn't like me. Senju Hashirama showed a bright smile. A white light flashed in his hand, and a tiny seal scroll suddenly appeared. It sealed the full blow of an unknown strongman. With this, he has no worries anymore. Would escape the tree realm is born. A roar resounded through the sky. It was vast, bottomless, and so huge that it was impossible to fathom its limits. A thick chakra that even surprised the tailed beasts was boiling on the surface of Senju Pillar. He was like the scorching sun turned all the places where we stood into forests on the ground. Whenever the wood escape chakra radiated to hell, dense green ancient forests grew. The green ocean swallowed up the ice and snow, and countless thick vines shattered. On the earth, demons danced wildly in midair. A few vine tendrils flew like lightning, whipping the sky, piercing through the remaining Horned Clan ninjas silently point the group of culprits who released the Ninetales fell here. Would escape. Are you really the reincarnation of Ashura in this life? The nine-tailed fox's face showed human surprise, but the anger on his face did not disappear. Before Senju Hashirama's generation, he had fought many reincarnations of Ashura and Indra. Dealing with each other, there are simply too many grievances and entanglements. If Kyuubi knew that he would be ravaged back and forth by Dazu and Madara in the future, I'm afraid he would become even more violent and furious. Ignoring Kyuubi's exclamation, Senju Hashirama's not the printing operation is still in progress would release the art of Wooden Man. The entire dense ancient forest went berserk. Countless big trees rose from the ground and rushed to the position at the feet of Senju Hashirama. They spontaneously gathered and entangled together, slowly forming the shape of a huge wooden man, no less than 9, the size of the tail. This is an ninjutsu that consumes an extremely large amount of chakra. The amount used is more than 3 times that of the Wood Dragon Jutsu, and 70% of the chakra in Senju Hashirama's body is drained out at once. But it is worth it. Senju Hashirama once saw this sentence in a book from another world. Only giant creatures can defeat giant creatures. 2 behemoths stood on the land of the far country, towering into the clouds, shoulder to shoulder with the mountains, as if they could reach the sun in the sky with their hands. Chapter 59. Roar. The extremely huge wooden man, under the control of Senju Hashirama, directly fought with Kyuubi at close range. The airwaves exploding in the sky came one after another. They were all the confrontation between the heavy wooden fists and the claws of the tailed beasts. The power of both Hashirama and Kyuubi at this time was far beyond the understanding of normal ninjas. Just the aftermath of the battle caused an unparalleled hurricane to disperse the clouds in the sky. Dalo demon subduing fist. The bloated and tall wooden man showed agility that was completely contrary to his appearance. He swung a heavy punch that split the air. Gyuu's fox eyes widened, and he saw his fist rapidly expanding within his sight range. The plot development is wrong. Ashura in the past would not have manipulated mutant like this. Kyuubi tried his best to dodge, shouting angrily, "Damn Ashura, the descendants of the old man of 6 paths are really annoying. Fast, accurate, and ruthless." Senju Hashirama's attack was too fast and hit Kyuubi directly head. The majestic power was completely poured into it, causing Kyuubi to fall to the ground and create a huge crater. It looks like the Bokujin Jutsu has completely suppressed the existence of the Ninetales. Tailed beasts are so weak. Senju Hashirama's face was pale. He stood on top of the wooden man's head and looked down at Kyuubi, who fell to the ground. Ding. Host, please be more careful. All tailed beasts are immortal. If they are not sealed, they will never die, and the tailed beast has not yet used its true strength. Li Jing reminded him quickly. If it was Senju Hashirama in Sage mode, there would indeed be no pressure to suppress the Kyuubi. But just based on the current Senju Hashirama, I'm afraid he doesn't have that qualification yet. As if to verify Li Jing's words, the violent scarlet chakra floated on Kyuubi's body again, dyeing his eyes red and bathing his whole body. Build. Luo. As ferocious as a devil in hell, Kyuubi stood up slowly and stared at Senju Hashirama. He almost gritted his teeth and said in an extremely hoarse voice, "Oh. There is no warning, no accumulation of energy." The Ninetales exploded with all their strength and rushed in front of the wooden man. They waved their extremely sharp claws. Just like chopping melons and vegetables, the sharp claws easily tore the wooden man's body apart. Only Senju Hashirama relied on his keen sense of consciousness to jump off the wooden man in advance. He escaped the disaster. It seems that Dazuma can't win by himself today. Li Jing was not too surprised when he saw this. Ninetales is Ninetales after all. With his strength as the #1 tailed beast, it is indeed difficult to defeat Senju Hashirama now. Win point if it had been changed to one tail, two tail or something, I might have been sealed today. Point ding. A major crisis in the host has been detected. Please use the special scroll, strong strike as soon as possible to ensure the safety of the host. Li Jing reminded Senju Hashirama decisively, lest this honest fool forget. Okay, I listen to you. Senju Hashirama nodded, took out the Bailey chakra knife from behind, and threw it heavily. Click. Unsurprisingly, this sharp blade made of fine steel was easily shattered by Ninetales. But it gave Senju Hashirama a rare moment of respite. Let me see how powerful this strong man from another world really is. A scroll appeared silently in Senju Hashirama's hand. After removing its seal, he gathered his strength and threw it towards the Ninetales. After all this, Senju Hashirama ran away from the Kyuubi while looking back curiously, ready to see what attack the scroll released. Li Jing also observed curiously. This was also his first time seeing this scene. I saw the scroll completely unfolded in mid-air, releasing a dazzling light, with a little fire burning in the middle. Gradually, the fire spread and burned, using the entire light as nourishment to grow. Every day, every time you swallow it, you become more transformed and stronger. When all the light is swallowed up, a shadow of a strong man shaped by the soul flame stands in midair, with an invincible force rising from his body that dominates everything and sweeps the world. The momentum. People can't help but lower their heads and lower their posture subconsciously to welcome the arrival of the real overlord. Even the Ninetales is not exempt from being affected for a moment. He almost wants to surrender to the shadow of the strong man, and is shocked and angry in his heart. I was shocked that someone could intimidate it just by relying on momentum. I was angry that I almost surrendered to it. You bastard human being, go to hell. Without any reservation, Ninetales activated the extremely terrifying tailed beast Jade, hoping to use absolute power to destroy the enemy. At this point, the strong shadow made the next move. It seemed that Ninetales' tailed beast Jade gave way. He finally confirmed who his target was. A shock. When the tailed beast Jade was launched, the flames burning in the shadow of the strong man were extremely strong. He slightly charged his right arm back, wrapped in a vast and inexplicable power of vibration, and shot an extremely simple shot straight ahead. A punch. At that moment, it was as if the whole world was trembling because of this invincible man. Chapter 60. The void shattered. The terrifying power of vibration shattered everything in sight. It was a high frequency vibration that could reach countless vibrations per second. Even the nine-tailed beast Jade began to fall apart when faced with this abyss-like space vibration. Oh, the Ninetales are cool. Li Jing clicked his tongue. He recognized the true identity of the strong man's shadow. He was the strongest man from a certain pirate world, and he was the most powerful man in his peak period. Faced with such an attack in the world of Naruto, except for a few alternative ninjutsu like dust release, only the 6th level powerhouse can stop it. Boom. Boom. This punch caused the hill above the 6th path ruins to completely collapse. Kyuubi only felt a sense of fatal threat emerged in his heart, making his scalp numb. Damn it. When did this metamorphosis appear? Kyuubi gritted his teeth, and a desire to retreat emerged from his heart. Although the tailed beast is a pure chakra life, and will not really die, the loneliness and pain caused by the moment of death are extremely real. Kyuubi does not want to miss the chance. He died once for no reason. As if he sensed Kyuubi's retreat, the tall and powerful shadow raised his hand slightly, and there was a shocking force that blocked all his escape routes. We can only fight head on. Kyuubi's face changed drastically, his mouth opened and closed, Yin escape chakra and Yang escape chakra gathered at high speed. Tailed beast Jade was quickly formed. Kyuubi did not release it immediately, but continued to accumulate power until the power was reached. Only then did he release the extremely dark jet black light cannon. The most powerful blow that shook the fruit, the ultimate output of the nine-tailed beast cannon. When the two collided, in an instant, the world was shaken. A dark moment art is an explosion. Li Jing watched the shocking impact from a distance, and this sentence subconsciously emerged in his mind. The collision of the power systems of the two worlds, chakra and devil fruits, was like a spark hitting the earth. All the energy was poured out at the same time in an instant. It expanded and expanded again. It raged and raged and raged again. The power of high energy roared crazily, causing most of the land in the fire country to violently shake. Even the natural disasters of ice and snow were affected by this power. The people in front of them were easily blown away. The scene was horrifying and shocking. The sound was huge, terrifying, and the roar was deafening. Just the huge roar produced during the collision caused countless people watching the battle to fall into temporary deafness state. This is the power of the truly strong. Senju Hashirama's whole body was covered with thick chakra armor, which greatly weakened the damage caused by sound to the ears, and did not enter a state of deafness. System, do you think I can grow to this point? Senju Hashirama only felt that the strong shadow and the nine tails were extremely powerful. Even with the wood release, he felt a sense of powerlessness in his heart. Ding, if the host successfully masters the immortal mode, even if it cannot win, it can still reach the level of power of the two. Li Jing thought for a while, but still wasn't too sure. If it were an 18-year-old Dazu, he would indeed be invincible and invincible in the world with his immortal mode. But now that he is only 12 years old, it is hard to say whether he can crush the nine tails, let alone White Bird in his heyday. Really, immortal mode. When I return to my clan, I can start trying to practice. Senju Hashirama was thoughtful. He touched his eyes subconsciously. When he had experienced the impact of Kyuubi's negative will before, his eyes seemed to be stimulated and evolved faster. When the eyes were successfully opened, plus the bonus of the Sage mode, by then, I'm afraid that his combat power will usher in a leap forward growth. Senju Hashirama turned his attention to the battlefield again. The aftermath of the attack of one man and one-tailed beast was slowly dissipating. The power of the wind and snow blew away all the smoke and dust, revealing the supergiant pit that had been exploded. The hill that had been blasted into countless pieces now no longer even existed. Made into powder, after releasing a blow, the shadow of the strong man naturally dissipated in the sky and the earth, and the huge nine tails were also missing. I don't know if he was killed or had escaped. Can the system detect traces of the tailed beast? Senju Hashirama asked vigilantly. He wanted to explore the battlefield, but he was also afraid that Nine Tails was lurking nearby, waiting for an opportunity to attack. Ding. There is only one life form in this area, the host. Li Jing casually probed and replied. The Senju boy breathed a sigh of relief, stepped on Shunpo all the way, and returned to the battlefield at high speed. Desolation, doomsday, huge. This is the first impression that comes to mind after Senju Hashirama personally entered the battlefield pit. When I master the Sage mode, will I be able to grow to such an extent? Senju Hashirama's heart moved. It was really exciting. Suddenly, the corner of his eye was attracted by a few lights. He walked over curiously and found out that there were several strange ninja tools that were as bright as new, completely different from the scrolls and swords commonly used in the ninja world today. Ding. Congratulations to the host for discovering the 6 Paths ninja tool, which can be directly exchanged for high points or kept for your own use. Li Jing's eyes lit up, and he directly recognized the identities of several ninja tools at the same time. He also saw the body of the Horned Clan ninja lying next to him. So that's it. The 6 Paths ninja tools of later generations, the Golden Horn and the Silver Horn, were obtained at this time. Li Jing smacked his lips and immediately thought of the truth of the matter. Anyway, the plot has been greatly changed, and he doesn't care to change it a little more. Wouldn't it be nice to just let Dazu take the 6 Paths ninja tool as his own? Ahem. Normal updates are about to start. Chapter 61. The ninja tool of the Sage of 6 Paths. Senju Hashirama casually picked up a 6 Paths ninja tool and looked at the corpses at his feet. He also understood the reason for the matter. It must be that these people from the Kaku tribe knew where the 6 Paths ninja tools were. That's why they deliberately crossed the border. He came to the country of fire specifically to look for it. If he hadn't come out to deal with the system servants today, I'm afraid these Horn Clan ninjas would have taken away the 6 Paths ninja tools under the noses of the Senju clan. System, do you know what these ninjas are used for? After all, it was something used by the legendary immortals. Senju Hashirama was reluctant to sell it directly. He wanted to see if he could keep it for use. Ding, the relevant information has been distributed. Please check it yourself. Li Jing waved his hand and put the information about several 6-path ninja tools into Senju Hashirama's mind point: golden rope, 7-star sword, red gourd, banana fan, amber pure bottle point. But in an instant, Senju Hashirama was fully aware of the situation of these 5 6-paths ninja tools. The exchange price for each 6-path ninja tool is as high as 25,000 points, and 5 pieces is 125,000 points among them. The function of the banana fan is to ignore the user's own chakra talent and release a mixed attack of the 5 major changes of fire, water, thunder, wind, and earth. The other 4 6-paths ninja tools are almost all related to Yanling. It is a difficult prop for assisting and sealing these tools. Senju Hashirama frowned and then shook his head. With his fighting style, he definitely wouldn't be able to use 4 ninja tools of the spirit type. As for the banana fan, I probably won't be able to use it because of the wood escape, but it would be just right for my 2 younger brothers to use. Even if 2 people don't like the fan, they can give it to Uzumaki Mito for use. As for the 4-word spirit ninja tools, Senju Hashirama pondered for a moment and finally decided to sell them. This kind of ninja tool is still too troublesome. I don't need it myself, and giving it to others is a double-edged sword. Maybe one day it will be used against me. Senju Hashirama thought for a while, then his mind sank into his mind and said, "System, exchange all the 4 6-path ninja tools besides the banana fan into points." Ding. The 6-paths ninja tools were redeemed successfully, and a total of 100,000 points were obtained. Li Jing took action and threw 4 6-paths ninja tools into the system at an extremely fast speed, all of which were converted into a huge amount of points. As usual, after taking part of it happily, he gave all the remaining 100,000 points to Dazu. It would be nice to have a few more ninja tools. Li Jing was greedy and thought that the value of these ninja tools was too high. If gold and silver were used as an analogy, it would be more than 100 or 1,000 gold. It's an astonishing amount. Looking at the 100,000 points he had added out of thin air, Senju Hashirama had the same idea. The hand holding the banana fan was about to move, and he almost lost control of converting it into points. Counting the remaining points from before, now that Dazu was carrying a huge sum of 140,000 points, he couldn't help but feel a little dizzy. He didn't expect happiness to come so easily. A feeling of anger surged in his chest, which made him open the system mall with high spirits, and he couldn't help but want to scold him. "Thank you, Li Jing. Friendly suggestion from the system. If you have enough points, give priority to upgrading the system." Li Jing quickly reminded the overly excited Senju Hashirama. There are many useful things in the secondary system mall. It's not false that it would be useful to Senju Hashirama after redeeming it, but it is absolutely impossible to rely on secondary malls to bring about qualitative sublimation. Upgrading the system to level 3 is the best solution at present. Haha, yes. Senju Hashirama smiled and scratched his head, quite trusting Li Jing's words. "System, let's start upgrading it." A hint of curiosity appeared in the eyes of the Thousand Hands boy. The items in the second level mall are already amazing enough. I wonder what kind of bug level items will appear in the third level. Ding, 100,000 points will be automatically deducted. The system is being upgraded. Li Jing directly debited 100,000 points from Dazu's account. This action seemed to have unlocked some kind of restriction, and strange fluctuations swept out point. This frees up Li Jing's system to have more authority and capabilities. Among them was an expansion of his freedom of movement that he really wanted. Point in the past, Li Jing's range of activities could only be within 3 meters of the Thousand Hand pillars. Now, this range has been increased to 50 meters. Although it is not much for normal people, Li Jing is already very satisfied. TSK, there are quite a lot of new features added in this upgrade. Li Jing looked at it happily. Not only the range of activities, but also his detection ability has been doubled. Point. If it were now, it would be completely possible before the Kyuubi came out. He detected the other party's presence in advance. Point. He ignored 99% of the obstacles of barrier seals. After getting familiar with several new functions, Li Jing turned his attention to the most important system mall and subconsciously took a breath of cold air. Although he had thought about it, it looked like a third level shopping mall, but when he actually saw it, he was still shocked. At this level, all kinds of mainstream techniques on the god and demon side, magic side, and cultivation side have emerged, which is a brand new power far beyond the Naruto world. System point and all kinds of forbidden ninjutsu in the Naruto world have been unlocked. The Flying Thunder God's Jutsu would release, True Thousand Hands, and the Reincarnation Jutsu of Evil Earth are all directly displayed. The selling price of each one is in thousands. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62. Ding, the system upgrade is complete, and the host's second level permissions have been raised to third level permissions. Open the third level system mall, servant contact function, and updated the detection function, which can directly detect the location of high value items. The requirements for the next upgrade are 500,000 points in total. Does the fourth level system actually cost half a million? Senju Hashirama opened his mouth wide and was speechless for a moment. Now there are not many resources for him to plunder in the ninja world, except for a few blood inheritance limits that can be exchanged for points. There are only gold, silver, jewelry and other items. After all, there are too few treasures like the Six Paths ninja tool. There is almost no possibility of getting it twice. Forget it, just collect points by chance. Senju Hashirama shook his head and focused on several new functions. The servant contact function is easy to understand, allowing him to remotely communicate with the servants redeemed in the system mall. A certain amount of points needs to be spent each time point on the battlefield. The strategic value of this function is quite high. The newly updated content of the detection function is also very satisfactory to Dazu Point. If he can directly detect the existence of high value items, he was not afraid of missing any rare treasures. Finally, Senju Hashirama set his sights on the highlight of the system upgrade, the system mall point. He opened the system mall out of curiosity and found that the system mall in front of him became familiar and yet unfamiliar. It is a shopping mall interface that has never changed. What is strange is that the products inside have been replaced in large numbers. Would escape true thousands of hands. Doi Shai and Lang Zenjing Void Muhammad Razan pick at one brand new product after another attracted Senju Hashirama's eyes. Even if you don't know the purpose of these new products, just looking at their names will make you feel uncomfortable. System, do you have any suggestions? Senju Hashirama is excited, but the remaining 40,000 points cannot even make a splash in the third level system mall. Ding. It is recommended that the host takes advantage of today's 2-hour follower discount to exchange for a few third level followers, and the remaining points can be used later to exchange for more valuable items. Li Jing has already thought about what kind of path he is going to take Dazu to take. But with Dazu's current points, it's really hard to redeem all the things in the plan. So now I can only keep it for now and make plans after I have more points. Okay, I listen to you. Senju Hashirama glanced at his point balance. More than 40,000 points, even if it is exchanged for the remaining wood escape ninjutsu, is far from enough. Just one true thousand hands requires 50,000 points. I thought I would get it. After earning 100,000 points, he can expand a little. It seems that he thinks too much. In front of the system mall that connects all the worlds, Senju Hashirama's points will never be enough. I don't know how much wealth there is in the family's warehouse. The secret treasures of the Kainji family are worth more than 20,000 points. The total wealth of the entire family must be at least 100,000. But this is far from enough. After returning, you can ask the enchanted caster to create special chakra weapons and sell them to other ninjas after satisfying your own needs. The stipulation is that they can only be exchanged for rare treasures. Senju Hashirama muttered to himself, his ideas becoming more enlightened due to the stimulation of points. Li Jing couldn't help feeling that his education method was very successful and made the first generation no longer so stupid. Soon, Kainji Hashirama picked a few more third level followers who were good at handling political affairs, preparing to help him handle the complicated government affairs. After he succeeded the clan leader, it's time to go. Looking back at the huge battlefield pothole, Senju Hashirama quickly ran towards the village. He knew that in the near future, this battlefield pothole would be discovered by spies from all forces. Occupied point either by the ninja clan, by daimyo, or by some unknown black market ninjas. In short, this place will soon become a place of melee between all parties, and it is not suitable to stay for a long time. Aha. Soon, running at full speed, Senju Hashirama returned to the village safely. Several followers who had re-exchanged their money also quietly blended into the group of refugees. Young patriarch, it's great to have you back safe and sound. A ninja with Senju stepped forward and said in a tone of reverence like a god. Unlike Senju Hashirama, they don't have the shadow level strength. They can completely ignore the obstruction of the blizzard and cannot catch up with Hashirama's departure. Ahem, I just went to take a look. Senju Hashirama said without blushing or heartbeat. Just now, I took out the guidance of the Immortal of Six Paths and rushed there without informing you a sound. Although there is a tailed beast entrenched there, he has been forced back by the power of the Sage of Six Paths, and I also successfully obtained the ninja tool of the Sage of Six Paths, the banana fan. Senju Hashirama took out the banana fan he carried on his back to increase the credibility of his words. Originally, this position belonged to the higher Kyutsu chakra sword, but in the previous battle, the higher Kyutsu sword had been destroyed by Ninetales. The spot was naturally vacant. The 10 ninjas of the Senju clan looked at each other with a trace of confusion in their eyes. When I went out for a walk, not only did I meet a tailed beast, but I also picked up a ninja tool from the Sage of Six Paths. Could this be the fate of the designated heir of the Six Paths? Thinking of this, the ninjas looked at Senju Hashirama with even more awe. Deep underground, the pure land of underworld, Otsutsuki Hagoromo, who was originally sitting in a cross-legged posture with a calm breeze, suddenly turned ugly, and the veins in the hand holding the sage's tin staff were exposed. I don't know how many times this has happened, but unknown malicious intentions always appear. He couldn't find the exact source of this malice. Inexplicably, a chill surged from the heart of the Immortal of Six Paths, causing a slight fluctuation in his state of mind that had been honed for thousands of years. Chapter 63. Like Senju Hashirama, the other 10 ninjas also felt that it would be better to return to their clan as soon as possible. This place is really too close to the Six Paths ruins, prone to accidents. Set off. Walking at the front of the team, Senju Hashirama looked at the many refugees behind and rushed directly towards the Senju tribe. The remaining ninjas were scattered around to prevent accidents that might occur at any time. There were hundreds of people in the entire team. From a distance, they looked like a dark swarm of ants, with Hashirama's servants from the exchange also mixed in. Such a number of people was no longer a small amount in the chaotic warring states. Even if it was 1,000 at 8 clan, a large clan in the ninja world has a total number of only around 1,000. I don't know how many of this group of people will eventually reach the tribe. The ninja with Senju glanced at the group of refugees and shook his head slightly. He was not worried at all about the impact the influx of refugees would have on the Senju clan. The current winter environment is really too harsh, let alone ordinary people. It's difficult for people, even ninjas with average strength, to walk that far. I hope that by the end, 50 people will survive. The Senju ninja sighed and then stopped paying attention to the refugee team and began to focus on the defense work at hand. Uchiha clan land. Uchiha Madara, who is the same age as Senju Hashirama, sits as the clan leader and temporarily manages the Uchiha clan on behalf of his biological father. His eyes were very calm, and after a period of training, his mentality was no longer so impetuous. His eyes moved slightly downward. The Uchiha elders below were talking about the shocking explosion before. There is no mistake, the dark beam of light is the attack of the tailed beast. It is no different from what I saw 20 years ago. The question is, who is the person fighting the tailed beast? We still need to investigate the situation. The clan elders discussed a lot and finally decided to stay in the clan area and only sent a few scouts to find out the situation. After all, the battlefield was close to the Thousand Hands clan, and they were afraid of being ambushed. Hashirama, is that you? Uchiha Madara silently watched the quarrel among the clan elders below, feeling that this incident was most likely related to Senju Hashirama. An inexplicable sense of urgency oppressed his eyes at some point. A Magatama Sharingan, the eyes open on their own, and there is a tendency to evolve towards the second Magatama. The capital of the Land of Fire had a sad look on its face, and many of the staff and ministers below did not dare to speak for fear of being probed for unknown explosions by the daimyo. They are not ninjas. No ability to protect yourself. Alas, now is indeed the age of ninjas, and samurai have begun to decline. The daimyo shook his head and sighed, without forcing the ministers to go check the situation, because even he himself was panicked in the explosion just now. Completely, he has lost the dignity that a ruler should have. Although the daimyo is not a genius, he also understands the principle of not doing to others what you don't want others to do to you. It is quite close to the Senju clan. I heard that the old patriarch of the Senju clan is about to abdicate. The daimyo suddenly thought and asked the ministers below. Yes, I heard that the new patriarch is the young patriarch who inherited the legacy of the immortal. Listening to the answer of his subordinates, the daimyo slightly. He had also heard the rumors that Senju Hashirama was favored by immortals. In this case, when spring comes next year, let's send someone to congratulate you, too. Days later, the outskirts of the Thousand Hands clan point. Senju Hashirama walked slowly on the snow with an extremely slow pace, without sinking even half of his feet. This technique is similar to treading water and climbing trees. It is the use of gathering chakra on the soles of the feet to form strong suction. The past 2 days have been quite peaceful, and no other ninjas have come to stop him. Only a few hungry wild beasts were killed with backhands as extra meals. There are only so many people left. Senju Hashirama looked back, looking at the groups of refugees in groups of 2s and 3s, with mixed feelings in his heart. Whether the original villagers or the summoned servants, they were almost all of ordinary people's physiques. He had been walking in this ice and snow for 2 consecutive days. Night. Even with the care of Senju Hashirama and his group, more than half of them were damaged. Along the way, countless people lost their body temperature silently, frozen, fell in the snow. They were stepped on by those who came after them. The corpse moved forward. After all, Senju Hashirama is not a god. He cannot take care of everyone's existence. He can only give priority to the servants he redeemed. This is very realistic and the safest, because the system servants are 100% loyal. The rest is up to you. After giving instructions to the 10 accompanying ninjas, Senju Hashirama immediately picked up full speed and rushed towards the gate of the Senju clan. Unexpectedly, in addition to the 2 brothers, there was also a red-haired girl. Wait together, brother. The Tashote, one on the left and one on the right, directly hugged Senju Hashirama's left and right arms, causing the girl who was also preparing to do the same to curl her lips slightly. TSK, have you become interested in Dazu so early? They are indeed a destined couple. Li Jing clicked his tongue in surprise. Chapter 64. Congratulations to the host for completing the mission. Sanctuary of the Thousand Hands of the Forest. The reward has been distributed to the storage space. The host, please pay attention to check. Returning to the Thousand Hands clan, Li Jing handed the previous task reward to Dazu. Prepare to spend the remaining days of this winter allowing Dazu to fully understand the fairy mode. Sage mode cultivation method. Senju Hashirama's heart moved slightly, and he had the urge to open it and watch. But he did not do so, but took out the banana fan carried on his back. The strange red and white ninja fan instantly attracted the attention of 3 people. Tobirama, Itama, Mito. Do any of you want this fan? This fan is a ninja tool used by the legendary 6 Paths sage. It requires a huge amount of chakra, but the chakra of the 3 of you is much higher than that of ordinary ninjas, so it should be no problem. As soon as these words came out, the 3 people looked very interested. But after thinking for a moment, Senju Tobirama and Senju Itama still shook their heads. Forget it, brother, I just want to use a normal sword. Senju Tobirama was very decisive, and rejected the banana fan directly. Li Jing slightly, he was not surprised by the second generation's choice. After all, he would still build it in the future. His own special sword, the Thunder God sword, does not look like someone who uses a fan-like ninja tool. Brother, I don't want it either. Senju Hashirama also refused. Neither of the 2 Senju brothers wanted it, so there was only one candidate left. Senju Hashirama turned his attention to Uzumaki Mito. Want to give it to me? Uzumaki Mito's expression was very surprised. In her opinion, although her relationship with Senju Hashirama was pretty good, something as rare as the Six Paths ninja tool should not be her turn. It doesn't matter, compared to the friendship between the Uzumaki clan, it's not particularly precious. Senju Hashirama said with a naive smile. He was telling the truth. The banana fan has limited threat to the real strong people, let alone the super shadow level. Even he is a little unable to deal with the shadow level. Leave it to Uzumaki Mito. Do it a favor is quite nice. But Senju Hashirama looked at Uzumaki Mito's shy expression, and countless questions suddenly popped up in his head. It was just a gift point, is it necessary to blush? The macho man was confused, shaking his head to get rid of the doubts in his mind. Senju Hashirama said goodbye to several people. He went straight to the clan leader's residence and reported what happened to the thousand-hand Buddha room and the clan elders. Of course, Hashirama recounted what he had said to the 10 ninjas. Tailed beasts. Six Paths ninja tools. Sage's legacy. Except for selling 4 ninja tools, summoning the shadow of a strong man, and exchanging system servants, DazZHU held almost nothing. But even so, it's still enough to make people stunned. Let the scene be completely silent, young master. Young patriarch is indeed the chosen one. Such luck is beyond words. After a long time, a grey-haired clan elder swallowed his saliva and said slowly, he has lived for decades and has seen all kinds of scenes, but he has never seen anything like this. How can someone be so favored by the ancestors? Gave crazy instructions on how to get the treasure and successfully escaped from the claws of the tailed beast. Apart from the chosen one, there was almost no second explanation. After hearing that Senju Hashirama had successfully brought back many ordinary people, the clan elders they all nodded. The young patriarch's ability to deal with things is not weak, and he is not limited by his age. It seems that he will be a good new patriarch. Yes, if you can be recognized by the ancestors of the Six Paths, you must be a reliable person. Listening to the discussion among the clan elders, Senju Hashirama was okay, while Li Jing burst into laughter. If these old people knew that in the original timeline, the big pillar not only gave away the tailed beast for free, but even let the Senju clan be broken into pieces and directly hide in Konoha. Their popularity is not even as good as that of Uchiha. I don't know how I will feel. But strangely enough, the big pillar in the original work is too silly. Li Jing frowned slightly. Although it is his nature to be silly, the various operations are a bit too confusing. Between the family and the village, he actually chose the village resolutely. I always felt that this was not like the idea of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, but more like the idea of that bad old man Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Li Jing pondered, always feeling that, even if the Six Paths sage dies, he is still invisibly controlling the development of the ninja world. Maybe he can't influence everyone. But it should be quite easy to influence the reincarnation of his 2 sons' descendants. Thinking of it here, Li Jing's eyes flickered. I'm afraid that in the future, he and Yu will really have a fight with the Six Paths immortal. Come on, let me try out what a powerful strike from the 3rd level system is like. Li Jing raised the corners of his mouth slightly, not afraid at all. If the old man of Six Paths were calling now, he could directly use a powerful strike from the 3rd level system. After defeating him, if he comes back later, the big pillar alone will be enough to deal with it. After reaching level 3, he is no longer afraid. Chapter 65. In the middle of the meeting, Senju Hashirama asked for the main responsibility for the refugees, in order to have direct contact with the system servants. Thousand-armed Buddha Giant only thought that his eldest son was kind-hearted, so he didn't pay much attention to it, and directly authorized it. By next spring, I will be able to complete the system's tasks, and receive a mysterious gift package. After exiting the patriarch's residence, Senju Hashirama thought silently in his heart. In addition, after becoming the patriarch, he has control over the family's wealth. He is increasingly looking forward to the upcoming succession ceremony. The host should not let the small lose the big, and should give priority to developing personal strength, Li Jing reminded Dazu, for fear that this fool would be too sad about other things, which would delay his cultivation. If you have the strength, why worry about not getting points? Well, I know. I will start training in Sage mode tonight, Senju Hashirama replied in his mind. Regardless of his family or strength, he must hold on tightly. Senju Hashirama's eyes flashed. He has longed for strength, and after seeing the terrifying power of Whitebeard and Ninetales with his own eyes, he felt even more insignificant. Only by further improving his strength can he be qualified to truly end the war in the Land of Fire, and even end the war in the world. Click point. Instead of going back to catch up with his two younger brothers, Senju Hashirama went straight back to his room. He took out the detailed explanation of Sage Mode training that he had been thinking about for a long time. Sage Mode is a state that allows a user to control natural energy and use natural energy to create Senjutsu chakra, which can greatly enhance the power of one's ninjutsu, taijutsu, and illusions. But gathering natural energy is a very dangerous process. If you are not careful, you will be assimilated by the natural energy. Only the truly outstanding can perfectly introduce natural energy into the body, integrate it with their own physical energy and spiritual energy, and become a more powerful magical chakra. Natural energy. Magic chakra. Senju Hashirama frowned slightly and flipped through the contents on the scroll. The Sage Mode was just as he thought, with more powerful combat power than the regular state, but the conditions for its cultivation were beyond his expectation. It's simple. Just perceive the natural energy and combine it with the original chakra. Therefore, the key to cultivating the Sage Mode is only the two steps of sensing the natural energy and integrating the natural energy. Senju Hashirama continued to read the following. The content of the scroll, in the subsequent records of the scroll, detailed the general feeling of natural energy and how to feel the natural energy point. But the more he read, the face of the thousand-armed boy became weirder. Why did he always feel that where the contact was? How about these natural energies? Senju Hashirama had a bold guess in his mind and took the initiative to release him divine consciousness, covering the surrounding space. As before, the area covered by the divine consciousness, whenever something happens he knows everything. The flow of air, the slightly rolling gravel, and the natural energy that is everywhere. It turns out that I have been able to sense natural energy for a long time. Senju Hashirama opened his mouth wide and was very surprised by this discovery. He practiced building wood visualization diagrams just because it could increase his perception and mental strength. But he never thought that it would help him save the speed of practicing immortal mode. Li Jing was also secretly speechless for this discovery. Well, this way you can save a lot of time and go directly to the step of fusing the magic chakra. Although he knew that Senju Hashirama would definitely be able to master the Sage Mode, Li Jing guessed that it would take more than half a month to truly master it. Moreover, this was only the initial stage of condensing the Sage Chakra. The carrot has been transformed into Senjutsu Chakra, reaching the point where he can enter the Sage Mode at will. With the huge amount of chakra Senju Hashirama currently has, he may not be able to survive within a few months. When Li Jing came back to his senses, he found that Senju Hashirama is already trying to use his mental power to absorb the power of nature that is everywhere in the air. Perhaps because Mudan is naturally close to nature, Senju Hashirama can absorb the power of nature quite easily. It seems that the big pillars have no problem absorbing the power of nature. Li Jing nodded slightly, then pondered for a moment and waved his hand to issue a reminder. Ding, it has been detected that the host is practicing immortal mode. In order to prevent the natural energy in the host body from exceeding 1/3 and backfire on the host itself, a special protection mode is temporarily activated. Special protection mode. When the natural energy in the host's body exceeds 1/3, the system will forcibly interrupt the host's fusion process. 100 points will be automatically deducted each time it is turned on. It's a bit expensive. Senju Hashirama looked at the price given by Li Jing and knew that he would need to spend a lot of points. Next point, after all, it is impossible to master Sage Mode in 1 or 2 attempts. But after all, the system personally took action, so it's not unacceptable. Senju Hashirama pondered for a moment and finally accepted the price. In his heart, the system is a more awesome existence than the 6 paths Sage. Such an awesome existence, it only costs 100 points to make a move, which is not a great deal. Chapter 66. With Li Jing's protection, Senju Hashirama felt more at ease and could absorb natural energy a little faster. However, compared with the speed of absorbing natural energy, the process of condensing magical chakra is much slower. Puff, with a soft sound, Senju Hashirama's newly condensed Senjutsu chakra collapsed directly because of the wrong proportion. Failed again. The Senju boy looked quite helpless. The normal way of synthesizing chakra is half of physical energy and mental energy point in the long career of a ninja. The body has adapted to this ratio, and now it suddenly has to add a natural energy forms a three-legged situation point. It is really difficult. Ding. The host doesn't need to be too impatient. It will just work out as it will, Li Jing said calmly. With Dazu's talent, cultivating the immortal mode is almost inevitable. Even Uzumaki Naruto only needed half a month, and with Senju Hashirama's talent, it might only take a few days. Of course, cultivating the immortal mode and being able to instantly activate the immortal mode are completely different things. The big pillar who can instantly activate the sage mode is the one who single-handedly suppressed the nine-tailed beasts and deserves to be the first person under the six paths. Well, I know. Senju Hashirama nodded and started to focus on the synthesis of Senjutsu chakra again. In the next 3 months, Senju Hashirama's schedule basically cycled through 3 points: training, familiarity with family affairs, daily interpersonal interactions. After the first 3 days, he successfully refined the first Senjutsu chakra. In 10 days, he accumulated enough Senjutsu chakra to enter the sage mode. Just because the amount of chakra was too small, the sage mode did not last long. Then he automatically quit. It seems that I have to train the big pillars later. It would be great if I could maintain the sage mode permanently. Li Jing touched his chin and planned a new training program for Senju Hashirama. In the normal sage mode, you cannot fight at the same time. It condenses Senjutsu chakra. Therefore, sage mode cannot last long and will automatically exit after exhausting Senjutsu chakra. But Senju Hashirama is different. With his divine consciousness, he can easily capture the nature of the surrounding environment. Energy. There is no need to meditate to realize the existence of natural energy point at the same time. Because of the existence of wood release, it is easy to absorb natural energy point. The only thing that needs to be consumed is to integrate physical energy, mental energy, and natural energy into one. Having said that, now that I have mastered the sage mode, I can start to conquer other ninja clans. Li Jing was thinking in his mind while watching Senju Hashirama's training point. This winter lasted for 3 months. Although it gave Senju Hashirama enough time to practice and become stronger, it also resulted in the loss of time during these 3 months. In the middle of the month, there was almost no incoming points, only 100,000 from the sale of 6 ninja tools. Now that March has passed, the Senju clan has begun to prepare for the succession ceremony of the next clan leader. The invitation has been sent out by ninjas. If something unexpected happens, the Hinata, Hatake, Sarutobi and other ninja clans who are part of the Senju alliance will send people to participate. The daimyo of the land of fire will also send his envoys to send blessings to the Senju clan. As for the daimyo himself, the possibility of coming is basically close to zero. Call. While Li Jing was thinking about his next move, Senju Hashirama had already finished training for the day. Open your eyes and exit the visualization state. A touch of shadow flickered in his pupils. As the practice time of Jianmu visualization increases, the degree of abnormality in the eyes becomes deeper and deeper. According to Li Jing's estimation, it will only take another month. A new pair of eyes will appear on Dazu's body. It may be the Rinnegan, it may be the Sharingan, or it may be a new blood successor limit that has never appeared in the Naruto world. It took 3 months to finally store Senjutsu chakra to its upper limit, the young man said with emotion. Ever since he read a book series on the rise of a great power in the system mall, he quite agreed with the fire phobia mentioned in the book. Therefore, he spent 3 months frantically refining the magic chakra. Now, even if he is standing on the same spot, he will exude the unpredictable aura of celestial chakra, making ordinary chakra ninjas feel a sense of awe in their hearts. Even if he encounters the Kyuubi again, he will not be afraid at all. Senju Hashirama suddenly waved his hand and pointed to a floor in the house. A strange thing happened. Without the seal, a small sapling grew out of thin air, cracking the floor. Mu escape point in this era, where Muji ninjutsu has not yet appeared. The emergence of Muji Mujutsu is simply a miracle. Chapter 67. The birth of Muji wood release originated from Senju Hashirama's further understanding of the architectural wood visualization diagram. From the visualization diagram, he understood a completely new rule that was completely different from the chakra system. Let the use of wood release become free and free from the constraints of magic seals. But now only the simplest wood release ninjutsu can do this. If he wants to release the wood dragon jutsu and Bokyun jutsu without seals, Senju Hashirama still has a long way to go. It's time to head out and prepare for the succession ceremony. Senju Hashirama looked at the sun outside the window through the window, preparing to go out to prepare for the succession ceremony. The replacement of leaders is often accompanied by very complicated etiquette points, especially for Senju, an ancient tradition that has been passed down forever. The ninja clan attaches great importance to such rituals. It is essential to take time to prepare in advance. Opening the door, a Jounin immediately came forward. Young patriarch, everything is ready for the succession ceremony. This Jounin is not one of the few that Hashirama knows, but his eyes are also full of respect. Speaking of which, this is also related to the system servants that Hashirama brought. Various talents have emerged. The people of the Thousand Hands tribe marveled that it was a manifestation of God. They favored the Thousand Hands pillars. Well, let's go now. Senju Hashirama nodded slightly, put on brand new clothes and went out. As soon as he walked out of the door, he immediately sensed several obscure glances. They were elite Jounin sent by the Senju clan to protect the young clan leader here. Under the lurking presence of several veteran Jounin, almost no one can make small moves. Even if they successfully break through the defense line, they will fall into unprecedented despair when facing the bug level existence of Senju Hashirama in person. The Senju clan has not been so lively for a long time. As he walked, Hashirama did not forget to observe both sides. Because it was the succession ceremony, the Senju clan was rarely open to outsiders. There were a large number of people and carriages carrying gifts. Walking through the bustling streets, you can even see ninjas from other countries. It would be great if all these things could be exchanged for points. Li Jing detected the high energy reaction emitted by those gifts and subconsciously had this thought in his mind. But there is no rush. These gifts will reach the hands of Dazu sooner or later. By the way, even others have given gifts to Dazu. Should I also give something meaningful? Li Jing pondered, thinking about what kind of gift to give to Dazu. Point after all, he is an honest child who he has watched grow up. It can't be justified if he doesn't give him anything. Yes. As if he had thought of a solution, Li Jing's eyes lit up. Although it will cost a little more points, it is not too much of a loss, since this is the only time in his life that Dazu will take over. Li Jing made up his mind and returned to the system space to start building a congratulatory gift. He was going to give everyone a big surprise during the succession ceremony of Senju Hashirama. On the other side, Senju Hashirama had already left. Going deep into the clan, he met with his two biological brothers Tobirama and Itama. Under the arrangement of some respected clan elders, they put on ancient ceremonial clothes, which were imitations of the clothes worn by the Sage of Six Paths in the chakra barrier under the protection of the Emperor. These clothes are still in good condition even after more than 100 years. They are not worn out at all. Perhaps because of the magic chakra. When Senju Hashirama put on this ceremonial dress, he felt a sense of coming out of the dust. Feeling pointed is somewhat similar to the appearance of the Six Paths Immortal recorded in ancient books, although it is not yet time for the succession ceremony to begin. But all parties have sent people one after another. Next to Senju Budama, there was Hyuga Tenin who came from unknown time. The two old men were sitting on a high platform, with several Senju and Hinata Jounin standing next to them. They looked at Senju Hashirama, who was arranging his clothes in the distance with a scrutinizing gaze. That child's strength has increased a lot compared to the last time we met. The Hyuga Tenin observed Senju Hashirama in the distance with his white eyes, his expression becoming more solemn. Compared with ordinary chakra, the existence of Senjutsu chakra is as dazzling as the sun. Especially the Senjutsu chakra accumulated in Senju Hashirama's body. The Jutsu chakra was too huge, far exceeding that of an ordinary person, making the Hyuga Tenin feel like he was facing a sea of rays. The last time he felt such terrifying chakra was from a tailed beast. Hashirama, this kid, has always been very talented, Senju Butsuma said with a smile. He didn't know what the Hyuga Tenin saw through his Byakugan. He only thought that Hashirama had simply become stronger in 3 months if he has Byakugan, and he is also stunned when he observes the magic chakra that is like the holy sun. If that child becomes the leader of the Senju clan, I'm afraid Hinata will be closer to Senju in the future. Hyuga Tenin looked at Senju Budama with a long look. In terms of strength, Senju Budama may be even better. Not even close point, but in terms of the strength and talent of his offspring, Hyuga Tenin felt that, even if he was reborn 180 times, he might not have such a monster genius son. Chapter 68. As time went by, guests from all walks of life gradually arrived, including envoys sent by the far country's daimyo. Although it is not explicitly stated, except for the daimyo envoys, representatives of the ninja clans from all sides assigned their seats according to the strength of the ninja clan. This was the warring states period in which the jungle prevailed. Here, Li Jing met many familiar families. For example, the Hatake clan with a 50-50 Hatake clan is not, strictly speaking, a ninja clan, but a samurai clan that has begun to practice chakra point. Although ninjas are good at using swords, they are best at ninjutsu point. Only the Hatake clan still uses the blade in their hands as the first means of attack, and it is often faster than the enemy's ninjutsu. In addition, there are small and medium-sized ethnic groups such as the Nara clan, the Akimichi clan, the Sarutobi clan, and the Shimura clan. Among the remaining 3 large ninja clans, only the Hyuga clan, which is the Senju alliance, came, and no one from the other Uchiha and Hagoromo clans came. This discovery made Senju Hashirama quite regretful. I don't know when I can meet Madara again. This thought flashed through Hashirama's mind point. Although he and Uchiha Madara didn't know each other for a long time, the two became like old friends, and became sworn friends. If possible, Senju Hashirama would welcome Madara to come. The time has come, and the ceremony begins. When the scorching sun at noon hung at the top, the most respected elder of the Thousand Hands clan stood up with a solemn expression and shouted in an old but powerful voice point. The dull drum sound echoed throughout the Thousand Hands clan in the sky point like a horn blown from ancient times. Under the shining of the golden sunshine, the expressions of every Thousand Hands tribesman became serious and reverent point. Even the foreigners who came to visit were affected by this serious scene. Subconsciously, he sat upright point. The elder of the Senju clan began to tell the story of the glorious history and origins of the Senju of the forest, the orthodox descendant of the Sage of Six Paths, the powerful ninja clan that has stood firm for hundreds of years in the warring states period, the strongest physique that no one can beat. Every time he tells a story, the Thousand Hands people in the clan will shout in unison. The Thousand Hands of the forest will last forever. The shouts were uniform and so high that they soared into the sky point. The clan elder nodded with satisfaction and then said, "Today, the new clan leader of my Thousand Hands clan is about to take office. He has inherited the will of his ancestor, the Six Paths Sage, and led the Thousand Hands. The clan is back at its peak." After the words fell, Senju Hashirama, who was wearing a 6-course dress, walked out slowly and walked step by step towards the center of the ceremony. He was obviously 12 or 13 years old, but because of the exercise method, he was as strong as a 10-year-old. A young man of 5 or 6 years old point. The slightly bulging muscles just hold up the dress, and he walks vigorously point. The 6-line dress is in the shape of a white coat, with 6 black magatama-like patterns engraved on the chest, and the back is bright red like fire. Under the whirlpool, 3 rows of crescent magatama, as black as ink, are lined up side by side. The magic chakra overflowed due to excessive practice constantly stirs up the 6-layered dress, making it look as powerful as a sharp edge. The pair of eyes that are about to evolve scan the whole place, like a superior person, as if they were so high and mighty that countless people could not breathe. Is this idiot so handsome? Uzumaki Mito, who had been watching from the seat, swallowed subconsciously point. At this time, Senju Hashirama, both in appearance and temperament, instantly killed all the men she had ever seen point. The girl who was slightly moved by spring subconsciously felt her heart beat faster, but when she turned her head and glanced behind her, she found that many girls had the same obsessed expressions, and she gritted her teeth and wanted to cover the eyes of everyone present. She was obviously the one who came first. Whether they knew each other or practiced together, she was obviously the one who came first. Call. Call, call. On the other side, Senju Hashirama's footsteps were fast, and he entered the center of the ceremony venue in a short while. Senju Hashirama also came down from his position, preparing for the clan leader handover ceremony. Coming, Li Jing narrowed his eyes slightly and watched the ceremony quietly. When the elder of the Senju clan announced in front of everyone that Senju Hashirama became the new clan leader of the Senju clan, with lightning speed, Li Jing threw out the congratulatory gift that he had prepared long ago, pointing. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the position of clan leader, completing the main mission, and receiving a mysterious gift package. In order to celebrate this situation, the system kindly gives the host a vision gift worth 10,000 points. Please check the host. Before Senju Hashirama could react, the vision came out of thin air. I saw that the day, when the sun was shining brightly in the sky, was instantly submerged by a dense black cloud. Covers the entire sky area with insight. There was no rain, no thunder, just blocking out all the sunlight. I can't see my fingers. Everything I see is dark. The atmosphere fell into a strange dullness. Suddenly, an extremely powerful light tore through the clouds, causing everyone's eyes to subconsciously focus on it. All he saw was a vast sea of pitch black clouds and a brilliant ray of pure sunlight penetrating down. It shrouded Senju Hashirama, but the heaven and earth were humming, making weird loud noises that reverberated and turned, seeming to be cheering. The shadow of an ancient tree reaching the sky emerged from Senju Hashirama without any warning. Its roots reach straight into the underworld, its trunk reaches into the clouds, and its crown sinks into the stars of the universe. It is difficult for mortal eyes to see its full picture. We can only make as bold a guess as possible. The trunk of Tangshan Jianmu shook slightly, and the natural energy of the entire far country began to riot, which shocked the hearts of ordinary ninjas who could not sense the natural energy. I just feel like I'm in a rough sea, and I can't help myself. Is this the power of the Sage of Six Paths? The daimyo envoy's eyes were extremely frightened, and he hugged his seat tightly. He was just an ordinary person, and had no experience in resisting such a mysterious force. Fortunately, no ninja reacted to the daimyo envoy's behavior. They laughed, because they themselves are the same, for fear that they will be involved in the violent wave of natural energy and be torn apart by it. I'm going to make a detailed list, because it is almost on the shelves. In order to avoid being on the shelves, Kevin cannot update, so conceive the content for the next few days in advance, and post it as soon as you finish writing it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69. That kid from Hashirama, sitting in his seat, thousand-armed Buddha, who gathered all his chakra for protection, suddenly contracted his pupils. To be honest, he can't see through his eldest son at all now. Is the inheritance of the Six Paths Immortal so powerful? What Senju Budama didn't know was that Senju Hashirama himself, shrouded in skylight, was also at a loss. The power of the system is truly terrifying. After experiencing a brief moment of astonishment, Senju Hashirama's face was full of smiles. He was surprised and satisfied with this gift from Li Jing. No young man could refuse such a grand gift. Excitement, surprise, joy, all kinds of emotions blended together in his heart, which made Senju Hashirama's mind calmer and calmer. The unstoppable magic chakra set off his body, and the six-layered dress rustled in the wind. Now that the system is in place, let's remove the vision. Senju Hashirama continues, exhaled a breath and thought in his heart. The vision of Tangshan Jianmu was so miraculous that it triggered a collective riot of natural energy in the land of fire. If this, the Senjutsu chakra in his body, will also be affected, and he may spontaneously enter sage mode. Senju Hashirama does not want his trump card to be exposed to everyone so quickly. Ding. The vision is being cancelled. Li Jing waved his hand slightly and removed the dark clouds in the sky and the immortal buildings that reach the sky. Waste. The phenomenon of 10,000 points is gone so soon. Li Jing smacked his lips. In order to arrange the most perfect pretense for Dazu, he withdrew 10,000 points from his own treasury and specially designed and created the Jianmu vision. Although he planned to give it away for free, Li Jing couldn't help but feel distressed when the points were spent. He glanced at the guests present with unkind eyes. Li Jing wrote them down one by one. In my little book, no one, no matter the daimyo or the ninja clan, can escape. From now on, I will wipe out all the family assets. Call. Visions go as quickly as they come. When the sun's rays shone on them again, everyone present breathed a sigh of relief. Only then did they realize that their backs were covered with cold sweat and their legs were shaking slightly. The Thousand Hands clan are in luck, someone said in a fearful tone in the audience, with an uncertain expression. Although everyone knew that the winners of the Warring States period would only be the big clans. But when the signs of this result really appeared, the ninjas of the small and medium-sized ninja clans felt that I'm still filled with grief and anger. Either become a vassal or die. There is no possibility of a third way. One can imagine how many people there will be after the news that Senju Hashirama was blessed by the immortal came out today. The ninja clan secretly surrenders to the Senju clan point. Even if they don't make good friends, they will try their best to avoid becoming enemies, not to mention the combat power possessed by the Senju clan. The sun-blecking vision of the tall buildings in the sky is enough to make them lose everything about them. The idea of fighting with humans, you have a chance to win. Fighting with immortals, death is the only way back. At the venue of the succession ceremony, the elder of the Thousand Hands clan who presided over the ceremony woke up from the shock caused by the vision and hurriedly said, "The succession ceremony ends here." Senju Hashirama, who was wearing the six-path dress, had been waiting for a long time. After hearing the words, he took a step forward. He formed a seal with his hands and used his true strength to summon the huge ancient tree in the sky point with the power of cracking the earth and covering the sky with trees. Posture point: show your strength to the daimyo of the land of fire and the major ninja clans, letting them understand that in addition to being favored by sages, they also possess unrivaled power. At this point, the ceremony ends as guests attending the chief's ceremony return to various parts of the Fire Nation point. The news that Senju Hashirama was favored by the immortal spread further and further. Even the Uchiha tribe on the other side of the Fire Country received the news. Uchiha clan chief's resident Uchiha Madara did not sit in the clan chief's position because his biological father, the real Uchiha clan leader, Uchiha Tajima, has successfully escaped from seclusion. That brat from the Senju clan has grown faster than I thought. If I only had a kaleidoscope, I might not be able to deal with him. Uchiha Tajima couldn't help but fell into deep thought after listening to the reports from his subordinates. Yes, he had successfully advanced from the 3 Magatama Sharingan to the main Gekyo Sharingan point, but based on this alone, Uchiha Tajima felt that he could not completely win. Senju Hashirama point: maybe he needs a helper with enough strength point. Using a kaleidoscope to control the tailed beast may be a good choice. Uchiha Tajima was thinking, completely unaware of the complex expression of the eldest son next to him. Hashirama, the gap between you and me is getting farther and farther. Uchiha Madara subconsciously touched his eyes, and his Sharingan had turned into a second Magatama point. Originally, he thought it would shorten the distance between him and the Senju pillar, but I never thought that the distance between the two was not getting closer, but was getting further apart. 2 chapters will be updated today and will be put on the shelves. The release time will be either midnight or noon tomorrow. Pick an integer. Chapter 70. The land of the Thousand Hands clan. Point: 1 day passed, and all the guests from all walks of life dispersed, leaving only all the congratulatory gifts they brought. In the patriarch's residence, Senju Hashirama, who changed back to normal clothes, began to look at his new residence point. After becoming the new patriarch of the Senju clan, he can no longer live in the original cabin. He must live in the patriarch's residence according to the previous etiquette point. Looking at this residence, where he had played since childhood, Senju Hashirama felt quite emotional. Suddenly, so many years have passed, let me see what the mysterious gift package for the main mission is. Sitting cross-legged in the middle of the hall, Senju Hashirama took out a small gift box from the storage space. It was said to be a gift box, but it was actually just an outer package. The size and content of the items inside have nothing to do with the packaging of the gift box. Point: with the excitement of opening a jar and gambling, Senju Hashirama slowly opened the ribbon wrapping the gift box. Point: a burst of white light that only he could see flash past Ding. The mysterious gift package has been successfully opened. Congratulations to the host for receiving Chronicles of the Ninja World. The gift box in his hand disappeared and was replaced by an extremely heavy picture book. Like all the books that have been redeemed in the past, this time's books are still written in the common language of the ninja world, which avoids the embarrassing situation of Senju Hashirama not being able to understand it. This cover. A flash of doubt flashed in Senju Hashirama's eyes. The familiar image of a watermelon-headed boy on the cover was exactly the same as his image half a year ago. Could it be that I am thinking of the special book The Parting of the Founders of Konoha that I have read before? The Resurrection of Kaguya Otsutsuki. Senju Hashirama had a slight realization in his heart. I'm afraid that the book this time is also related to the future. And it's related to his own future. Interesting. Senju Hashirama turned the first page curiously. This is the world of ninjas. There is no close combat with swords and shadows. What is there is just the chakra and jutsu that has been multiplied to its peak. At the end of the Warring States period and the first year of Konoha, the two most powerful men in the ninja world jointly created a village to shelter all ninjas. They were named Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara, and they were respected by the world as the god of the ninja world in the ninja world. Sure, at Madara Uchiha's suggestion, the village was named Konoha Hidden Village, and Hashirama Senju served as the first mekage of the village. Seeing this, the corners of Senju Hashirama's mouth raised slightly. What a wonderful future. He and Madara created a peaceful village together. Although it is still far from the goal of world peace point, but it has finally taken the first step, isn't it? With anticipation, Senju Hashirama continued to read point, but the content that followed made his face look a little bit ugly. In the 8th year of Konoha, Madara Uchiha actually met him again. Fight. What happened? Browsing through the pages hurriedly, Senju Hashirama finally knew why Uchiha Madara was so angry. Black Zetsu's induction was part of the reason, but the most important thing was that Senju Hashirama killed Madara's younger brother, Uchiha. Izunita Birama, you are confused. Senju Hashirama was so angry that he slapped the floor to pieces on the spot. He never expected that his and Madara's bright future would be interrupted by his own brother. It seems that we need to educate Birama properly and make him understand that peace is the most important thing. Senju Hashirama whispered expressionlessly. Ding, the things recorded in the book are all possible futures, so the host must not believe them. Li Jing touched his nose and said. He always felt that the second generation would be educated by Dasu into a bad person because of himself. Okay, I know. Senju Hashirama withdrew his palm without changing his expression, leaving only the sunken palm print pit on the floor. He continued to flip through the Chronicles of the Ninja World quickly. Soon, the big pillar's attention was attracted by the various futures recorded in the book. Attracting point: the Kingdom of Thunder, the Kingdom of Earth, the Kingdom of Fire. The places recorded in the book are not limited to Konoha, and the major events that occur every year are recorded in detail. Senju Hashirama is quite aroused. This is a visual sense of reading the long river of history. It feels like being in it. In fact, this is also a point carefully designed by Li Jing. He did not directly throw out the complete set of Naruto animation, but reorganized the timeline of the Naruto world from a god's perspective. With Naruto, in which Naruto Uzumaki is the first person perspective, is mixed with too much information that is not helpful to Dasu. It can also easily cause Dasu to lose his accurate judgment of his own positioning. Wow. Perhaps because he often reads, Senju Hashirama flipped through the Chronicles of the Ninja World very quickly and soon saw the plot of Tendo Pain destroying Konoha. Although he didn't say it clearly, from the twinkling eyes of Senju Hashirama, it was not difficult for Li Jing to guess that the latter had written everything down in a small notebook. The current big pillar is not the original version that died young in the original game. Having practiced bodybuilding techniques and key training techniques, he dare not say that he will live forever, but he can still live for hundreds of years. He can slowly deal with those future opponents of Konoha one by one. A long time. Senju Hashirama finally finished reading Chronicle of the Ninja World. He knew it. He knew it all. The grudges of the Liudeo family and the reincarnation fight between Azura and Indra. Two guys with water in their heads, including the Reincarnation Eye. Otsutsuki Clan. All kinds of messy things. Available tomorrow. Chapter 71. observe the future, although he was curious about the strong Otsutsuki appearing one after another. But what Senju Hashirama is more concerned about is that after he successfully established Konoha, the world still maintains a steady stream of wars. His mind had become much more mature, and he immediately thought of the real cause of the situation. Benefit. There are so many countries, and so many ninja villages. As long as there are still entangled interests, the chaotic warring states period will reappear at any time. It is difficult to change from war to peace, but it is quite easy to change from peace to war. The idea of building a village may be feasible, but the size of this village is too small. If it can be as big as a country, or even encompass the entire world, maybe the world can maintain long-term peace, Senju Hashirama murmured, with an inexplicable light flashing in his eyes. To be honest, he had never thought about the daimyo regime that manages the land of fire before. It's not that this how outstanding and incorruptible, but because if the regime is destabilized, countless innocent civilians will be affected. But now, after witnessing several future ninja wars fueled by major regime powers, Senju Hashirama suddenly understood. This world, only one political power is enough. It's time to take the next step. Having just finished reading Chronicles of the Ninja World, I have an impression of what will happen in the future. Senju Hashirama conceived the plan directly in the room. In addition to the original plan to calm down the war, this time also added many things: reduce the content of establishing political power and unifying the system to prepare for future reforms. GSK. It seems that Konoha Kingdom will appear in the future. Li Jing was watching Senju Hashirama nearby, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Although he himself is a Naruto fan. But there is one saying that the big pillar in the original work has too much thoughts on peace. Too naive, far less decisive than Uchiha Madara. Even though Madara was deceived by Black Zetsu and became lame, he was still smarter than the big pillar. In fact, not only these two people, but the entire Naruto world seemed to have its future cut off. In 4,000s of years, the pace of war almost never stopped. It was not until the protagonist, the prince, became the 7th Hokage that the world ushered in peace. Is it because comic book authors dictate the rules of this world, or is it just that this world happens to be like this? Li Jing suddenly thought of this question and shook his head. It doesn't matter whether it's the comic book world or the real world. Anyway, for me now, fire is an incomparable reality, and the big pillar is also a living person with flesh and blood. In this way enough, after a while, Senju Hashirama had already formulated a preliminary plan. Eat your meal one bite at a time. Don't think too far ahead. If you want to bring peace to the world, you must first bring peace to the fire country. Under the illumination of the candlelight in the room, the thousand-armed boy's eyes looked even more magical. Putting aside the name of the fire country, there are a total of fire country. There are 4 large ninja clans. They are Senju, Hinata, Uchiha, and Hagoromo. If they want to be truly unified, it is almost inevitable for the Senju clan to attack the other 3 ninja clans. Senju Hashirama's hands were stained with a trace of soil. The emblems of the 4 ninja clans were drawn on the floor. The Hyuga clan is an ally of the Senju, so you don't need to rush. The Uchiha clan is a family of friends, so you can wait a little longer. So, it is most appropriate to eradicate the weaker Hagoromo clan first. Senju Hashirama's fingers silently moved to the emblem of the Hagoromo clan. The movement was very firm. This action seemed to consume all the strength of Senju Hashirama. Let him lie directly on the floor of the room. Starting a war will cause the death of a large number of ninjas. This decision is too heavy for the kind-hearted Hashirama, but he has no other way. If there is no bloodshed, no sacrifice, true peace will never come. Even if the Hagoromo clan is willing to surrender, there will definitely be some fighting factions who will fight to the death. System, do you think my decision is right or wrong? Lying on the cold floor, Senju Hashirama asked with his mind sinking into his mind. Ding, from the system's point of view, the war is a long time coming. No matter whether the host initiates the war or not, the war will not disappear because of this. The behavior of the host has accelerated the end of the war to a certain extent, Li Jing replied slowly. He knew better than anyone that, even if Senju Hashirama led the Senju clan to stay in the clan, the Hagoromo clan and the Uchiha clan would come looking for them sooner or later. In this case, it's better to be bold and give it a try. Well, with your words, I feel much more at ease. Senju Hashirama showed a tired smile. He slowly closed his eyes and prepared to rest and meditate directly on the floor. Wait until the next day to all the gifts that have not yet been exchanged for points are collected. Of course, the long-awaited wealth of the Senju clan must also be exchanged for points in exchange for secret techniques or treasures that enhance strength. Before meditation, Senju Hashirama, a trace of expectation appeared in his heart. He didn't know how many thousands of points this exchange could bring him. Maybe 200,000, maybe 300,000. In short, this time he collected 200,000 to activate the special mode of the system. It shouldn't be a big problem. Please read the ununderlined version of the novel chapter 72. The next morning, Senju Hashirama opened his eyes at dawn. Exited the state of visualizing the wooden plan. Strangely enough, most of the early cultivation techniques could not keep up with the speed of his progress. Only this method of contemplation has been making progress. Because of this, Senju Hashirama meditates almost every day to enhance his mental strength. Speed up your eye-opening speed. I don't know what my eyes will look like in the end. He touched his own eyes subconsciously, and Senju Hashirama felt a sense of expectation in his heart. Through the Chronicle of the Ninja World he read yesterday, he knew that in this world, except in addition to the ordinary Sharingan and Byakugan, there are many more powerful eyes such as the main Gekkai Sharingan, the Sansei Eye, the Rinnegan, and the 9 Magatama Samsara Sharingan. No matter which one of these eyes they are useful for increasing Senju Hashirama's power. Strength is of great benefit. It's a pity that even the system doesn't know what my eyes will look like, Dazuli muttered to himself. But although the system couldn't give an answer, it at least knew that this change was good. If it hadn't been for Li Jing's reminder, Senju Hashirama will definitely be scared by this change and dare not practice Jianmutsu. In that case, I don't know how long it will take to open his eyes. Crunch, open the door, and walk out of the patriarch's residence. Senju Hashirama walked all the way towards the warehouse, where the gifts were stored. Patriarch, hello, Patriarch. One after another, the Senju clan members greeted Senju Hashirama with respect. Even though Senju Hashirama's actual age was much younger than them, it did not affect the respect in their hearts at all. In the beginning, Senju Hashirama still a little uncomfortable, but he soon entered the state of the clan leader. Soon, Senju Hashirama entered the clan's warehouse. It was sparsely populated and was an absolutely forbidden area. There were also several clan elders guarding here. Because precious materials that the Senju of the forest rely on for survival are stored here. If they are accidentally lost or damaged, it will be a huge blow to the family. Therefore, this place has been listed as a forbidden area in the clan all year round. Foreigners and ordinary Senju are not allowed. The clan members are coming. As the clan leader, Senju Hashirama naturally misses the mark. Patriarch. A Senju clan elder saw Senju Hashirama arriving and bowed with a low profile. Then he took the initiative to lead the way, and Senju Hashirama walked towards the depths of the warehouse. Even without asking them, they knew that Senju Hashirama was here. The purpose is to take away the things in the warehouse. As for what to take, that is not their question. Open the heavy door of the warehouse and walk through the dark and deep passage. The whole picture of the Senju warehouse appears between the Senju pillars. In front of Li Jing at that time, I thought that the master's secret stone chamber among the 1,000-armed Buddha was exaggerated enough, but I didn't expect that the clan warehouse was even better. Li Jing looked around the warehouse. It is large in scale, but there are not many things stored there, because most of the space is covered by various sealing techniques and barriers. These unconventional means are not harmless silent barriers. Once triggered, even shadow level people may perish here. It can be protected by so many barriers and sealing techniques, so the things inside will be very precious. Li Jing guessed, and he was looking forward to it more and more. The more big pillars were redeemed, the more he had in his own small treasury. The mood couldn't be more beautiful. But after taking Senju Hashirama deep into the warehouse, the Senju clan elder began a series of decryption seals and turned off all protective measures. After completing this step, the clan elder retreated on his own. Wait for Senju Hashirama to finish getting his things, then come in and turn on the protective measures. It's really an extremely rigorous method. Looking at the protective measures around his head, being closed little by little, it was like the gorgeous galaxy suddenly darkening. Senju Hashirama couldn't help but sigh. He walked deeper into the warehouse and soon entered a semi-enclosed in the stone chamber. Not only are all the treasures of the Thousand Hands clan stored here, but also the congratulatory gifts sent by various forces yesterday. Can the system detect how many points these items are worth in total? Senju Hashirama picked up a piece of gold and asked Li Jing. Ding. The system scan shows that the items in this room can be redeemed for 390,000 points. The huge sum of 390,000 instantly stunned the young Senju Hashirama. Li Jing himself was also knocked unconscious. This was the proportion left over for Senju Hashirama after he ate part of it himself. If you want to really calculate it, the total points of all the things in this room in front of you have exceeded 500,000. Sure enough, to be able to exist in the most prosperous fire country for so long, none of the 4 major ninja clans have simple wealth. Li Jing smacked his lips. Although the items stored in the secret room in front of him are valuable enough, they are still not worth $1,000. All the heritage of the Hand clan point those kunai, armors, and swords lost in the war were a huge expense every time. Li Jing even suspected that, if he sold the Thousand Hand clan, he might be able to get hundreds of thousands more. Ding. Would you like the host to redeem it? Li Jing glanced at Senju Hashirama, who was still in a daze, and quickly reminded himself, of course. No, wait. Senju Hashirama subconsciously wanted to say that everything should be converted into points, but he immediately remembered that these items contained many meaningful records for the Senju clan and could not be sold easily. If those items disappeared, then he, the leader of the Thousand Hands clan, is too incompetent. Feilu reminds you 3 things about reading chapter 73. Put aside some items that have special meaning to the Senju clan. Senju Hashirama suppressed the excitement in his heart and shouted, "System, exchange all the remaining items into points." Ding. The exchange was successful. Congratulations to the host for earning 314,804 points. It was almost continuous without pause, and Li Jing immediately released a specially made prompt sound. Congratulations to the host, whose point balance has exceeded 200,000 and 300,000 for the first time. The system has opened the can opening mode and consumption rebate activities for a limited time. The can opening reward has been updated to the 3-level system standard. The price of ordinary cans is still 1,000 points. On this basis, the system has added advanced cans, priced at 10,000 points, consumption rebates, premium jar ? 10,000 points. When hearing these prompts, Senju Hashirama's expression became confused. This mysterious system can always create some fancy operations, but it can also bring him real benefits. System, is there any difference between advanced jars and normal jars? What does consumer rebate mean? Senju Hashirama asked, scratching his head. He had an intuition in his heart that maybe the 300,000 points he had just received would be spit out soon. Ding. The rewards for advanced jars and ordinary jars are the same, including all items from the 1st level to 3rd level mals, but advanced jars will be easier to get high-end items than ordinary jars, and will be harder to empty. Senju Hashirama nodded slightly, indicating that he basically understood. In general, the can opening mode is no different from before, except that there is an extra expensive high-end can, which can open good things with a high probability, instead of smashing out useless items such as scrap metal and basic ninjutsu. It's not like ordinary jars, which can be easily smashed empty and nothing will be given. After seeing Senju Hashirama understood the meaning of the high-grade jar. Li Jing continued to preach, the consumption rebate activity is a welfare activity organized by the system to help the host grow faster. Within today's time limit, every time the host consumes a certain amount of points, you can receive a lucky gift package. Li Jing waved his hand, and a brand new system panel appeared in front of Senju Hashirama. On the system panel, 4 shiny lucky gift bags are displayed. The conditions for receiving them are, spend 10,000 points, spend 50,000 points, spend 50,000 points, spend 300,000 points for head. When I saw that the condition for receiving the last gift package was to spend 300,000 points, Senju Hashirama knew that the 300,000 he just received today might not be able to keep it until the next day. No matter, the points will be used sooner or later anyway. After a moment of silence, Senju Hashirama finally made the decision. to spend all 300,000 points today. Point after all, there is no benefit at all if you delay using the points. There are at least 4 lucky gift bags today. Point anyway. It's all given for free. No matter how rubbish it is, you won't lose money. System. First come 10 common and 1 high level jar. Ding. 20,000 points have been deducted. Li Jing raised the corners of his mouth slightly, summoned 11 jars, and dropped them on the floor of Kainju warehouse. Senju Hashirama's eyes fell on the jars. The first 10 ordinary jars were basically the same as in his memory. The last high-end jar has golden lines all over it, but it just looks good and has nothing special about it. I remember that opening a can be done by just thinking, or it can be broken directly. Senju Hashirama recalled. Punching one of the jars snapped. With a harsh cracking sound, the jar was blasted out of thin air by the iron fist. It flashed with a dazzling white light. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a bottle of life recovery potion. Life potion? Senju Hashirama nodded slightly. He was familiar with this item, having received a bottle before, which healed a severe burn on his body. It's just that, now that the immortal human body is fully developed, if used together with the wooden release chakra, his injury recovery speed is quite amazing, so he doesn't need this anymore. Of course, it's quite good as a gift for others. A good start. Senju Hashirama rubbed his palms excitedly. The gambling addiction that had not been vented for a long time was gradually induced in the can opening mode, making the whole person excited. Smash. 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 A pair of iron fists dancing like a tiger, he broke the remaining 9 jars in one go. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a bottle of Bakeodan. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 5 talismans and thunder talismans. Ding. Congratulations to the host. I was pretty lucky this time. Only 2 jars were empty and there was nothing. Point. But Senju Hashirama's brows were furrowed. Point. It's not that these things are bad. For ordinary ninjas and civilians, these are real good things, but for Senju Hashirama, who has mastered the sage mode, these things are all tasteless and a pity to discard. Tasteless. At his current level, he basically has no need for these things. With the upgrade of the system, more and more items are sold in the mall, and so are the jar awards. It's really a test of luck to find what you want among the vast objects. Senju Hashirama shook his head. Now, he finally understood the meaning of high-end jars. At first, he thought high-end jars were expensive. One costs 10,000 points. Now it seems that it is understandable. Point. Because even if an ordinary jar is smashed 10 times in a row, there may not be anything useful. I hope the high-end jars will not disappoint me. Senju Hashirama turned his attention to the last jar. It was a high-end jar with golden lines engraved on its surface. Sure enough, I have the motivation to code words only after it is put on the shelves. Please read the ununderlined version of the novel. Chapter 74. He raised his hand and knocked it lightly, and the high-grade jar with golden texture broke into pieces. It was a ball of golden dazzling light. In terms of visual effect, it far exceeded the white color of ordinary jars. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the advanced secret technique, the mighty Cheyenne Lang true skill. The dragon roars in the void, shocking all directions. This is a terrifyingly powerful offensive secret technique. Even in a 3rd level mall, it is among the best. Point value starts at 100,000 points and goes up. Point. It was the method that Li Jing specially selected for Dazu to replace the useless Daluo demon subduing fist. Doi Cheyenne Lang's true power. Senju Hashirama's heart moved. Unexpectedly, he successfully opened a high-end jar for the first time and successfully opened a good thing. Point. If he remembered correctly, there seemed to be a Doi Cheyenne Lang sutra in the system mall. Point. It seemed that he saw after hearing the doubts in Hashirama's heart. Li Jing waved his hand and sent the information about the technique into his mind, allowing Hashirama to understand it on his own. After a while, Senju Hashirama, who had digested all the information, opened his eyes. That's it. In the original world of these 2 skills, the 2 skills were originally matched. The true scripture is responsible for internal cultivation, and the true skill is responsible for fighting the enemy. However, the powerful Cheyenne Lang true skill has been systematically transformed, and no longer needs the matching true scripture. You can also practice freely with chakra. Of course, if Senju Hashirama has enough points, you can also exchange it for a copy of the Great Powerful Heavenly Dragon Sutra in the mall to increase your understanding of the technique. High-end jars, so terrifying. After understanding the information about the true skill in his hand, the smile on Senju Hashirama's face could no longer stop. The jar with 10,000 points revealed a secret technique that could only be bought with more than 100,000 points. This is simply 10 times more powerful. Dozens of times huge profits. It seems that after a long time without switching and lottery, my good luck is getting stronger. The Thousand Hands boy was full of energy and waved his hand. System, give me 10 more high-end jars. Ding. 100,000 points have been deducted. Li Jing summoned 10 high-grade jars with a smile, arranged them neatly together, and placed them in front of Senju Hashirama. In order to arrange a wave of powerful Saiyan true power for Dazu, he was bleeding heavily. Now you have to make up for your own small treasury points. Smash it, smash it, smash it. After smashing the high-grade jar 3 times in a row, after the dazzling golden light, only fragments were left on the ground. Li Jing's small treasury points plus 30,000 were lost 3 times. Making Senju Hashirama suspicious of life again. Didn't it mean that high-end jars are not easy to empty? What's going on? Seeing that the big pillar looked unhappy, he coughed lightly and filled the remaining 7 jars with their contents. A little bit of cheating is enough. If you cheat anymore, you'll be ruining your own brand. Snapped. Smashing the 5th jar with his fist, Senju Hashirama breathed a sigh of relief when he saw something behind the golden light. He slowly picked up the thing in the golden light. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a beauty pill, a magical elixir that can keep a person's appearance in a youthful state forever and will show no signs of aging until death. In the eyes of women, its value exceeds all else. Beauty pill. Senju Hashirama was thoughtful. He probably won't be able to use this thing. With the help of key training, his aging rate is much slower than that of ordinary people. If it were given as a gift to a woman. Senju Hashirama's mind subconsciously thought of Mito Uzumaki. If you give it to her, she should be very happy, right? Throwing the Zuandan into the storage space, Senju Hashirama took a deep breath and charged up his fists. Break the remaining 5 cans simultaneously. A brand new key training technique, 2 bottles of elixirs for training, and 2 sword-like weapons. This is the result of this opening of the can immortal key training technique. Would attribute? It can just replace the basic key training technique. Senju Hashirama was very satisfied. The original basic key training technique had long been unable to keep up with his progress. Originally, he planned to exchange it for a new one in the mall. Now that the door is open, it's good to save a lot of points. You can keep the 2 bottles of elixirs for yourself, or you can distribute them to the clan members to try the effects as for the swords. Senju Hashirama played with 2 slender ones. The sword felt very awkward. He was used to the weight of the Bailey Chakra sword, but now he felt particularly awkward using such a normal sized weapon again. Give it to Tobirama and Itama. Senju Hashirama made up his mind and put the 2 swords into the storage space. It happened that the banana fan was given to Uzumaki Mito last time, but he could not give it to his 2 younger brothers, so this time he will treat it as compensated. At this point, the opening of 10 higher level cans has ended. Counting the previous consumption, Senju Hashirama has spent a total of 120,000 points. In other words, he still lacks the consumption limit of 180,000 before he can receive that lucky gift pack of 300,000 points. The 2 ninjutsus of Shin Thousand Hands and Flower Tree Realm are born, which add up to exactly 80,000. In this case, you can buy 10 more high-end jars to make up the remaining 100,000. Senju Hashirama thought, opened the system mall, and exchange the 2 top level would release ninjutsu. Would release Flower Tree Realm Birth. 30,000 points would release True Thousand Hands. 50,000 points, a total of 80,000 points. Sting. 80,000 points have been deducted, accompanied by the cold system prompt tone fabricated by Li Jing. 80,000 points were deducted from Senju Hashirama's account, and instead, 2 profound wood escape ninjutsu appeared out of thin air in his mind. The birth of the flower tree world is okay, but the existence of the real Thousand Hands makes Senju Hashirama himself feel so horrified. How did my future self develop this ninjutsu? Hashirama raised his eyebrows The other ninjutsu are fine, but this ninjutsu is so abnormal. You can press Susanoo on the ground and rub him to death. Filu reminds you 3 things about reading chapter 75. System. Are you sure the real price of thousands of lots is only 50,000 points? Senju Hashirama couldn't help but ask point. According to the records in Ninja World Chronicles, he felt that the power of thousands of hands far exceeded this price. A price of more than 100,000 yuan is not too much. Ding, there is nothing wrong with the price sorting and the system all point. The technique of the true thousand hands itself is not extremely complicated, but the power will change according to the user's chakra level, so the strong will use it stronger, and the weak will use it weaker. Li Jing slowly explained. To put it bluntly, the difficulty of learning the true thousand hands is no higher than that of other would escape ninjutsu point, but this jutsu is quite special. As long as the user has more chakra, the jutsu can have more arms, which will affect the power of the jutsu point in sage mode. Senju Hashirama's chakra is much more exaggerated than that of a tailed beast. That's why we can create a huge Buddha statue with thousands of hands and arms. If it were a different person, the number of moves might be hundreds or even dozens. That's it. Senju Hashirama nodded. He also had a clear understanding of his own chakra capacity and knew that ordinary ninjas could not reach it. System. Here are 10 more advanced jars. Without too much entanglement, Senju Hashirama shouted heroically. As more and more good things were opened, his inner gambling addiction has been fully stimulated. God of Gamblers number 1 Senju 55 open is ready. He didn't believe it. None of the remaining 10 jars were good. Ding. Congratulations to the host for receiving a gift package of farm tool drawings. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 2000 miles transmission notes. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a section of the charred willow tree trunk. 3 consecutive system beeps made Senju Hashirama freeze on the spot. Point to say these things are useless is not enough point, but if it is useful, it is not as powerful as the powerful Cheyenne Lan true skill, true thousand hands and other secret techniques, which can greatly enhance the strength point. In particular, what is the use of the willow tree trunk? Not to mention high-end cans, even ordinary cans can produce such waste products. Senju Hashirama's face became darker and darker as he took out the willow trunk from the 3rd high-end jar. It is said to be taken, but in fact the word hold is more appropriate. Because this torso is 3 meters long and about 1 meter thick, its skin is in the shape of burnt black scales, and there are tiny blue arcs moving in the gaps. It proved to be a piece of lightning struck wood struck by lightning. Wrong. This is very wrong. The moment he picked up lightning strike wood, Senju Hashirama's eyes immediately changed, because the vitality of this willow tree trunk is frighteningly strong. The breath of life emitting from the fracture is as bright as the sun. It's not something that normal trees can have at all. System. What is this willow tree trunk? Senju Hashirama asked. What? Of course it's a good thing. Li Jing raised the corner of his mouth slightly and directly drove the information about the willow trunk into Dazu's mind. Point the trunk of a willow tree struck by lightning. On a night of thunder and lightning, a mysterious willow tree fell from the sky carrying thousands of thunder tribulations. In the process, many of the trunks of the willow tree were split apart by lightning and separated from the main body. This is one part system suggestion. It has high hardness and can be used as a material to make weapons. It can also be given to others to play a magical role in extending life. This, Senju Hashirama opened his mouth wide, not knowing what to say for a moment. Point being bombarded by 10,000 sky thunders at the same time. Just imagining that scene made Senju Hashirama shudder. It was too shocking. No wonder the system said that the hardness of this lightning struck wood was very high. If it is not high, how can it withstand the indiscriminate bombardment of thousands of sky thunders? After opening the can, I can go to the enchantment casters and ask them to help me make it into a new weapon. Senju Hashirama caressed the surface of the thunderbolt wood fondly. He originally liked the breath of life on it, but now that he knows the amazing life experience of the lightning strike wood, he is even more excited. It is big enough, heavy, and has high hardness. Even 10,000 thunders can't break it. Isn't this the ideal weapon he has been pursuing? A super heavy weapon that can perfectly utilize his strange power. Thinking of this, the corners of Senju Hashirama's mouth rose slightly, and his mood became comfortable again. I didn't even care what was opened in the remaining jars. In fact, the remaining 7 jars did not open anything good, as if all the good luck was condensed on this torso. TSK, if I give you more good things, my small treasury will go bankrupt. Li Jing smacked his lips, collected the price difference from the remaining 7 high-end jars, and rushed them all into the small treasury. In fact, in his original plan, the reward for opening the can this time should be a new body training method to replace the Great Wilderness body training method that Dazu had previously practiced. But when he was wandering around the system mall, he accidentally saw this willow tree. He made a decisive decision. I changed my mind. After all, the origin of this piece of willow wood is too scary, and it is a rare treasure. Its importance is far more than the body training method. Hahaha, originally there were 2 updates in the evening, but it turned out I was delayed by the university's online classes. Please read the ununderlined version of the novel end of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.